Hi, everybody. Welcome to a live episode of the Vito x DINO podcast. We are streaming on YouTube, on Twitch, and on Facebook. My name is Vito Delsante. His name is Dean Haspiel.
Hi, everyone. I'm Dean Haspiel.
We
Don't forget the episode number. Don't forget the
episode number 66. Get your kicks on episode 66, Dean.
I better.
Don't you remember?
You better get your kicks.
Get your kicks on Route 66. Don't you remember that?
On Route 66, but you're reminding me of a TV show. What was it?
I think it was Route 66, wasn't it?
It was a black and white TV show, right?
Absolutely.
And there's a great episode written by Sterling Siliphant, who was one of my favorite writers of that era. I think he wrote a bunch of Twilight Zones that Tuesday Weld is in, and a little kind of cameo from Burt Reynolds, and a very young Burt Reynolds.
Oh, wow.
It's pretty crazy. The two guys, like the Jack Kerouac type guys who are driving all over the place.
Yeah.
They come to a small town. The car needs to be fixed, and a bus pulls up, and all these people are freaked out as they get off the bus. And a woman comes out wearing this giant kabuki mask, and it's Tuesday Weld, and she kind of freaks everybody out in the town. And I don't remember the rest of the story. It's got a weird title too. I'll try to look it up. Route 66. That was the name of the show. Okay, yeah. Tuesday Weld, Route 66. It has a great title that like inspires me to write. Oh, Love is a Skinny Kid.
Okay.
Love is a Skinny Kid. Route 66. Tuesday Weld. Okay.
Good evening. Hey, Carrie, how are you? Thank you very much. I have to give her a shout out. She's the one that helped us set up this new live format that we're using. So I want to thank everyone over at Splash Pages and the Dorkening. Thank you very much, everyone. We are eternally grateful, especially since I don't have to spend $44 a month on doing it on my own.
Thank you, guys. Thanks, Carrie.
So let's talk about what we're doing live tonight. We are, as you can see on the bottom, we have a little scrolling chyron that is telling everyone about the new Kickstarter that we talked about last week on our show. And as you can see, it gives you the URL so that you can go to it. If you look up here in the top left corner, you should see a QR code. You can scan that with your phone, and it'll go to the Kickstarter page as well. So just for the sake of ease and convenience, this is your one-stop shop. You can just listen to us talk about the book, and you can listen to us talk to some folks that are in the book. For example, let's bring somebody on right now. Let's have
Jonathan Bayless.
Right
Jonathan
there.
Bayless.
No buttons.
So, Jonathan.
What's going on?
How you doing, man? First of all, Vito, you didn't say the name of the book, I don't think. It's Real Life
I'm trying
Comics.
to figure out if my signal is working.
You're working.
Yeah, you're fine.
We hear you. We see you. We love the gauze and the Vaseline that you put on your lens to
very Hollywood glamour.
Nice.
Are
80,
you?
So you gotta.
But you can hear us and see us, right? Yeah. So I was saying it's called Real Life Comics. In New York.
Breaking up a little bit, but
I think we're on a delay.
A little bit.
I think we're on a delay. So we're gonna have to buffer each other somehow. Jonathan, the project is called Real Life Comics, only in New York. And I just looked at the Kickstarter, and we're now at 11,000, and I think 185 backers so far.
That's amazing.
185, 11,000. We got 21 days to go. So while we have Jonathan here, Jonathan should tell us a little bit, not only about himself briefly to people who listen to our show may not know Jonathan, but then what's his contribution to Real Life Comics?
Sure. I want to say normally I do a comic every year. It's called So Buttons. It's an autobio anthology, much in the vein of Harvey Pekar, where I'm the writer and I hire all different kinds of artists to draw my stories. And then for this volume that's on Kickstarter right now, I teamed up with someone that I worked with in my last issue, an artist named Ayoko Nito, and they drew a story for me about this guy that was, sort of a presence on my block for a couple of years, and this guy was known as Poop Man, and he was known as Poop Man because this was a man who pooped on the street. And you occasionally get these kind of characters, but apparently he had kind of a storied history as being the second biggest heroin dealer in Park Slope back in the day, and that's what the story is around.
I love that, but here's the question, and I'm actually trying to find your story in the dummy copy I have here. But I almost feel like to be a true New Yorker is he had to have at least not peed, but taken a dump on the streets of New York City, right? So it's kind of like a tax, like a soul tax in a way. Now, have you guys ever done that?
No, I always thought the real thing was you had to cry on the subway. I thought that was a thing.
Why? Why crying?
I don't know. Like just being upset on the subway, like just made sense to me.
I mean, I think. Yes, I think we've all done that, but I think less people have taken a dump on the street than cried on the subway, right? So, I mean, or then we just have an abundance of New Yorkers, right?
Right.
What about you, Jonathan? Have you ever taken a crap on the street?
I've cried in public on the subway. I've definitely peed, in many like a tree bank or in a back alley. But I don't think I intentionally pooped. Most likely, I pooped my pants. I think, and I don't think it was like a sharding thing.
Right.
I think it was sort of like, I ate the last time this actually happened. I was at the Angoulême Comics Festival, and I ate something from the train station, on my way back to Paris. And then when I was in Paris, I was like, it was that thing where like you're trying to get back to your hotel, and I was like 1 block away, and then Vive la France.
Jonathan Ames, who's also in the book, was famous for a short story he wrote called "I Shit My Pants in the South of France," which is one of the funniest things.
There it is.
Ever. It's so funny, that story. Do yourself a favor and read that. In fact, we did a little excerpt of
like
it.
This.
Oh, absolutely. You Jonathans know your poop, le poo poo. But I don't think I've ever properly taken a dump in the streets of New York City. But I think I was in a car with my parents, and we were on the way to the city from Long Island. So I don't know if that counts. And I had to go so bad that I asked them to pull off, and I just went into an alley, a dark alley, and went in there. And it's also, I'm not gonna get into the mechanics of it, but you have to deal with your pants. How to, do you take off your pants? Do you take them halfway down? All kinds of stuff. Oh, we got Marcus with a little. Was that a happy poop?
Happy
But anyway, this is a good way to start the show about a book we're raising money for. So this is how you do it. This is grassroots, grass poops.
I pooped on the subway, like on the train, actually literally stepping off of the N train or R train going to work. So I went upstairs holding my behind, so that it didn't leak. Somehow got onto an elevator without anybody seeing me, went upstairs, went into the bathroom real quick, got rid of my stuff, cleaned myself off, called my supervisor down in the basement. He was in the basement. I was upstairs. I said, "Hey, what was his name? Pete. Yeah. Hey, Pete, I just shit myself. I'm going home." And then just hung up. So
I'm going home.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Now, here's a question people ask us about.
Day for that.
Wait, what?
You would hope.
Oh, rest sick day. The question a lot of people have been asking us is, what is a New York story? So I think people have pooped in other cities, So if you had to take the nuance of it, is it because this guy was the second biggest kind of, was it a heroin drug dealer, you said?
Yeah, yeah, I think that's exactly it. I mean, like, what makes it more New Yorky is that I learned about his history from it was like one of these, like one little store post office box store
Oh yeah,
places,
yeah, yeah.
right? And so the guy in there, so the poop man every once in a while would take a nap in there.
Right.
And I would be like, what the hell is this guy doing in here? And so I go to the guy at the counter and I say, George, I said, what's the deal with this guy? And he talks about like, oh yeah, he was the second biggest heroin dealer, blah 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 blah. He goes, but I used to be his teacher. And that is some very small world New York.
Small world. It's those intersections. Yeah, we always talk about it's the intersections and the fact that most people that have a really good New York story are multifaceted. They have many different things, stripes and colors. There's a great line in here. I'm going to read these two panels right here from your story, where a guy says, "You know the real reason why this neighborhood went nice? Ain't because of the mayor or the governor, but because of a crossing guard that sold heroin."
That's right. That was the number one dealer. The number one dealer was the crossing guard.
That was the number one.
And she gave everybody up. And so I got a guy who lives across from me, across the street, named Ed. And, he's one of these guys, he's got like a teardrop over there.
Oh, yeah.
So, he's been a couple of places, done a couple of things. And and so eventually I went to Ed and to corroborate the story. And he goes, oh yeah. He goes, oh yeah, Poop Man. Yeah, he used to be the number two guy. And he, awesome. Ed's dad used to own the corner, bodega, whatever. It's like everybody. Right. Park Slope now is like full of like parents and dogs and strollers and all this stuff, but there's still a lot of old school people around when Park Slope was not as nice as it was today. And so you can get these stories, and that's the story that I decided to put into this anthology.
Do yourself a favor and see a movie called The Landlord. I think it's from 1970, starring Beau Bridges as a rich white kid, and he falls in love with a bunch of black chicks in a very black neighborhood in Park Slope.
Park Slope.
Back when Park Slope.
Hal Ashby maybe was the director.
Yep, Hal Ashby. That's right.
Yeah. That's a good one. That is a good one.
How do you, Jonathan? How do you like have such a good ear for dialogue? Like you remember, like these stories that are told to you, or kind of like your voice is so strong with your own inner dialogue within the stories. How did you train yourself to do that?
I think it's just a combination of things. I think first of all, I'm a native New Yorker, right? I'm born in the Bronx. I've been living between Manhattan and Brooklyn now 30 some odd years, whatever. But I think also my day job has always been as a writer producer of promos, for television, whatever, HBO, NBC, and it's all very short dialogue that I'm clipping. So I think my brain is just kind of wired, and it might be like an ADHD thing. I don't know. ADHD wasn't my generation, but I think the sort of the tight dialogue of my day job informs how I also write comics. Because I remember reading back in the day, I think when Peter David was like writing a column for Comic Buyer's Guide or something like that. For some reason, I have it stuck in my head. He's like, when doing dialogue or captions or whatever, he goes, no more than 16 words. And somehow, I took that to heart. And so a lot of dialogue is usually, I'm like always tightening. And so that's how I get these voices. But when it comes to, other New York voices, I'm just very attracted to New Yorkers and New York stories and New York accents. So a lot of times when I'm writing it, like I could hear George's voice in my head. I could hear Ed's voice in my head from across the street. So it just, it's all connected for me. It's all connected for me.
Can you stick around for a second? We're going to bring in our next guest.
Yeah, sure.
All right. So joining us now will be, why can't I? There it is.
Oh,
Pat Palermo will be joining us.
Pat Palermo. Hey. What's up, Patrick? How you doing, man?
I found the white guys with glasses and gray.
There it is. Hey.
You've got more of a Van Dyke.
There we go.
My wife's glasses.
How you feeling, Pat? Pat was in the, if I may, Pat was in the hospital because of comics. No,
because of comics.
Hell of a paper cut.
I was very proud. Actually, I got to fulfill somewhat similarly to the way that I'm sure Joe Matt felt so justifiably proud in the afterlife that he managed to die at the drawing table.
Yeah.
I felt very proud of myself. God bless Joe Matt. I felt very proud of myself that I was the piece that I have in this book, I was coloring from a hospital bed. And I felt very proud of myself because I wanted to take pictures of every angle of how dedicated a cartoonist I was. Coloring. I had
he did a 6-pager. He did one of the longer ones. And here I'm going to show you a little bit of Pat's.
Oh, that's wonderful.
I can't see what you're seeing, but
we see it.
And he's an incredible cartoonist. Someone I met at Yaddo like 3 years ago. 4 years ago.
4 years ago.
4 years ago.
2, yeah.
And then we were at Yaddo again, coincidentally. And that's usually how I see Pat, is at Yaddo, even though he lived up the block and now has moved to another part of Brooklyn. And that's probably my bad. But yeah, he's an incredible cartoonist and so funny. You're one of the funniest. You said Joe Matt, who also, I don't know if we're laughing with him or at him sometimes, but it's the same with you. I think sometimes we're laughing at you with you.
That's fair. It's very fair. As long as people are laughing, I don't give a shit.
I know, right?
Job.
And actually, Pat was published by Ad House.
Yeah.
Right. What was it called?
Live Work.
And it was like 2 editions of that.
Yeah.
And then you're working on this magnum opus, basically.
I'm working on a semi-fictional memoir comic that's I actually counted it today. It's at 256 pages and probably 100 more. Probably got 100 more in me.
I love you're laughing near him. But yeah, no, I mean, but you also have a real job and you do things, you have fun.
I do things. Yeah,
you go away for the summer and you have like a house with a lake and whatnot, right? Like this little
house is generous, but yeah, I go. I've tried to get you up there. There's a small fishing cottage that is built on the water of a lake. Has an outhouse. It has electricity.
Sure.
Does not have a shower or it's got a compost toilet. 200 feet away from the main
that's right up Jen's alley. My girlfriend loves stuff like that. So Pat,
my girlfriend loves an outhouse.
Oh yeah. Well, I remember the first residency that Jen.
Outhouse.
So we were talking about Yaddo, which is a great artist writers residency, filmmakers, all choreography, all kinds of disciplines. But I remember when Jen got into her first little residency, it was a 1-week thing, like in the Catskills or upstate somewhere, and the bathroom was an outhouse. It had a stick.
Oh no! Oh God!
And she loved it. But Patrick, you also were in a residency for a year in Texas.
Yeah, I was at the Galveston Artist Residency from 2016 to 2017, and that's actually you mentioned my Ad House book, which is a book about a fiction book about a bunch of artists around the time in the year before the 2008 financial collapse and Obama's election, and it's drawn in like a very wish I was Jaime Hernandez kind of style, which is a style that I carried for many years. And then when I was actually at this residency in Texas, I was there for a year, and I was working on the second issue of Live Work, and it was 11-month residency, and you don't have to do anything there. You don't have to teach, you don't have to work. You get a stipend, you get an apartment and a studio, and there's also nothing to do. So while I was working on the second issue of Live Work there, I thought I always was always jealous of seeing these artists who have like full sketchbooks. I always had like 6 sad sketchbooks with like 6 pages drawn in and the rest abandoned. And so I was on that long-term residency, and I did a diary comic for the first time. I did a daily diary comic where I would do one a day, uploaded it to the internet, also to keep me in contact with friends and, you know, people I couldn't see. And that was also the year Trump got elected. So I just vomited up content, you know, angry content.
I thought you said you just vomited.
Yeah, I just vomited. Luckily, onto a page. Luckily, there were strategically placed sketchbooks all around me to catch the copious amounts of vomit that has not stopped to this day. But that was my first experience of doing a daily diary comic, and that's what I ended up doing during COVID, which has grown into the book I'm working on now, which out of necessity and speed gave birth to a different style, which is like kind of a more cartoony, like drunken Charles Schultz off the wagon.
Or it's like Charles Schultz meets Bukowski, you know?
Oh.
Yeah, I guess.
Kinda. You know, in terms of what the visual brings up for me, you know? But and I don't know if you have any more guests coming up, Vito, but people
it's
might.
Whenever you're ready, let me know.
But real quick, so I wanted to ask this question. This is something we can ask everybody. You know, when you're doing autobio and you're trying to stick to the truth, or at least your version of the truth, or your side of the story, sometimes you piss other people off that might be presented in the comic. Have you guys ever experienced this?
I experienced so much of it that it actually gave birth to like the second half of my book. The consequences of what I wrote in the first half.
Yep.
You write long enough, they give you material, and yeah, I've definitely encountered that. I mean, I'm making light of it. It is a difficult thing and a real ethical thing to grapple with, and how much you engage with things that might arise directly from you putting things out there into the public space.
Yep.
And it's not something I take lightly. It's also why I say semi-fictional memoir, because it's like I change names and but there's enough there that, like, Jesus,
of course,
you know. But I think the more important thing ethically is like to not, as long as you're willing to be fair with your own bad behavior, and not edit yourself, you know, not try to strategically edit yourself into being some kind of protagonist, then I hope that things, you know, a lot of other things become fair game, you know, as long as you're willing to, like, put yourself under the same microscope as everyone else.
Absolutely. I mean, unless the story is about a narcissist, the hero, you know, like, you know, that if that's the point of view.
Well,
but no, I think you're right. And in fact,
narcissist hero. I don't know if you've us in the U.S.
But I would love to read his memoir that he writes. What does he think he's doing? You know, like, it's insane. So, Jonathan, did you ever have a ethical issue with that?
No, I was going to say, you know, unlike Pat,
yeah.
I was going to say, unlike Pat, no, I have ethics. So, no, I don't write about other people So Buttons is a little bit more of a sort of a feel-good vanilla kind of anthology. Like, it was almost, when I was doing started So Buttons, there was a lot of very, like, woe is me, I can't get laid, all this, like, kind of stuff. And I was like, no, I'm going to do more like funny, happier kind of stuff. So I don't tend to include a story that I'm aiming to offend, or include a story. Like, I mean, like right now I have an estranged brother, and sure as shit I could write some stories to put.
That's interesting, man.
So Buttons, but it is kind of interesting. But that's not what So Buttons has been. But I'm about to launch a project that's my first long length graphic memoir that will be a little bit more raw, and, you know, could rub a family member the wrong way for its honesty, but too fucking bad.
Yeah, no, it's funny that you say that, because I do feel I hopscotch between trying to be funny and dramatic and true, and you know, putting myself under the lens and whatnot. And I think vanilla is a good word to describe. In a way, if you were to read Pat's comic, you'd want to wash out your mouth with John Bayless's comic. You know, like clean your mind a little bit, scrub the brain pan, you know, a little bit. No, but they're both heartfelt, and I think ultimately that's how I connect with a lot of these stories, is when they're heartfelt, you know. And by the way, if you guys want to hop out at any point, because we're going to be bringing more people on,
Yeah, feel free.
Just say good night, see you
Yeah,
later.
no worries. You know what? I got a thing at 8:30.
Okay, so there you go.
I'm going to say goodbye to you all. Go to
Thank
Are you going to be? Where are you
There
going to
it
be
is.
this weekend? Where are you going to be this
Good
weekend?
luck, everybody, with the anthology.
Jonathan.
This weekend, I'm going upstate. Going upstate to Kingston for kicks, right? And then some other people, they're doing the Brooklyn show. Well, here you go. Here, I'll rub people the wrong way. You could not fucking pay me to do the Brooklyn show. There you go.
Ouch. Shots fired.
Yeah, Mitch will not send me any love letters. All right, goodbye, folks.
All right, see you in Kingston. Bring it on, Vito.
We're gonna bring on Gideon Kendall now.
Sweet.
Here we go.
Gideon, what's up, man?
Should be
Can
there.
you hear us?
He's talking. There he is.
Can you hear him? I can't.
No, I can't hear him at all.
Take off your hat. No.
Now he's
we
muted.
can't hear you.
What about now?
There you go. There you go.
Technology is not my friend.
It's doing this tonight.
Yeah.
Technology. Yeah. So how much AI do you use in your work?
Oh man, more and more every day. More and more.
Right. I'm just sitting here. I have a graphic novel being drawn to the right of me. I'm just chilling out with you guys.
I have to say, Gideon, you got so much love last week from Doug Latino. Like you were mentioned so much, and it's kind of nice to put a face to the name, you know, for me. I mean, Dean, you've met Gideon, I assume.
Oh yeah.
You have,
oh, yeah.
This is my
I carry him out of bars all the time.
Yeah, well, Doug is a very sweet man, and Doug and I have worked together for I guess over 12 years now, and I'm not sure if either of us would be in comics if it wasn't for the other one.
That's
and
nice.
To the long lost mutual friend who introduced us to each other, who had like nothing, knew Doug through work and knew me because our kids went to we were actually in the same birthing class as this woman, and somehow she met Doug and Doug was like, I'm looking for comics people, and hooked us up. So yeah, weird things happen, but I'm really glad that it happened. And Doug is awesome. And
you've also collaborated with Gabe Soria, another good pal.
Hey, yeah.
Gabe and I do a book called Mega Ghost. The sort of the opposite of autobio stuff. It's very much kids fantasy adventure, kaiju monsters and robots kind of stuff. Really fun. I like doing that kind of stuff a lot too. I mean, like Dean, like you do all sorts of different kinds of things as long as it's comics. Well, you don't just do comics, you do film and plays and stuff like that.
For me, it's like storytelling,
Yeah, I'm more like I need to be drawing. Like I don't know how to do other kinds of storytelling. Like for me, it's like, and even the storytelling part, like as far as the stories go, that's why I ended up working with Doug, is that I don't have a lot of story ideas. I have some, but for the most part, I do work with writers, unless I'm doing autobio stuff, because then I don't have to think of a story. I just have to remember something that happened to me.
We were talking to Josh Neufeld, or I was talking to Josh, and he said he's incapable of making a story up. That's why he does nonfiction.
Oh, interesting.
Pat, real quick, have you ever collaborated with a writer?
No, and I would fucking love to, because I have a really abusive codependent relationship with myself as the writer, and I would love to get out of it. But I would love to. I've actually, I'm working on like I said, I'm working on a more, I wouldn't say naturalistic because there's a lot of fantasy to it, but this memoir project now. And I'm really, the next thing I've been gestating in my mind about is much more of a kind of adventure themed fiction project, because I am aching to draw something that's not a sad middle-aged bald man wrestling with the complexities of crossing the street.
Wrestling, no less.
So
What's
Gideon,
that?
tell us about your real life comic story, please. The one you wrote and drew.
Yeah. Well, I'm so glad that this book happened and that I was invited to be in it, because I've always wanted to tell this story, but I was always afraid to draw it because it involved drawing some things that maybe as a straight white male, like, I was a little bit hesitant about putting my version of it out there. But I'd always wanted to tell it because it's a really important story in my life in New York City. And I moved to New York City in 1985. I grew up in the country. I grew up in Texas and West Virginia and hated it. And I dreamed of moving to New York. And I was able to come here to go to art school in 85. And, you know, everybody that I knew back home was like, oh my God, you're going to go to New York City and you're going to get killed. And, you know, I got here, and the very first day that I was here was the first day in my life that I didn't feel afraid. Like, as crazy as it was, like, I felt like I was home. And I also kind of knew that if anybody did want to assault me, it wasn't personal. It wasn't because I was Jewish or perceived as gay or a nerd or whatever. It was just because they needed money for crack. So I just, you remove the personal part of it, and like, it was cool. So I moved here in 85 and ended up finding my way into the Greenwich Village Halloween parade, wearing a mask that I had made. I used to do children's theater with my mom every summer, and I made all these masks. And so I had this one mask with me, which I didn't draw exactly what the mask looked like in the comic. I made a different version of it for the story, just for, you know, storytelling purposes. But anyway, I put on this mask and I just walked into the parade, and it was like that same feeling that I had when I came to New York of like, oh, I can do anything here and no one's going to care, because there's way crazier shit happening everywhere all the time. So putting on this mask was like that at another level, just like the Greenwich Village parade was like New York distilled down to everything that was great and crazy about it. And I ended up in the parade. My friends who I was with kind of goaded me to like join the march. And then I ended up walking with a bunch of drag queens who left the parade and went to this crazy party. And I just followed along, kept keeping my mask on. And I ended up, you know, I'm country bumpkin from rural Appalachia. I mean, my parents weren't from there. They were East Coast hippies, but like, you know, I'm my first year and first couple months in New York City, and I end up at this crazy gay loft party, and I saw some crazy shit. And I finally got to draw it.
That's awesome. I love
it.
Yeah, I love that your first impression of a New Yorker is an unbiased crack addict.
Yeah, it really was. It really was. And I got mugged twice in my first 3 years here. And, you know, it was scary. I didn't enjoy it, but it was very different from like when I would get beaten up in high school. You know, when I felt like I was constantly under attack. In New York, it just felt very random and impersonal, which I could handle.
Yep. Holy man.
Yeah.
That's awesome. I love that story, and thanks for contributing to it. And one thing I wanted to make a comment on, because a lot of us are kind of wear many different hats as creators, right? And I feel like you really truly are a great illustrator. Like, you can tell that you love to draw, you know. And I struggle with that all the time. I feel like I've become more of a writer than an artist or illustrator. And we've talked about this, Vito. Patrick, you do both very well. Do you feel like that you yield to one discipline over the other, or?
Well, I love to draw. I love the look of the comic page. I realize that I feel really proud when I don't know, when I turn the page and I've made a layout and it's different from the last page's layout. And I love ending on a button for the page turn, these things that are physical to a comic. And I think, and also I love reading prose. I could never decide in prose how much or how little to describe. God knows it's a huge problem for an illustrator. I've learned through making comics that actually leaving stuff, how much to leave out, is one of the most crucial things you can learn the longer you make comics. But I would never have the patience for trying to describe things in prose or it's just faster for me to just draw it. It's like drawing a map. It's like I can explain east, west, south, north, but look, I'll just draw you a fucking map and that'll be faster. So that's kind of how I think of
right.
drawing.
No, and I feel like, when I think about comics, I think that the art is writing is how I think about it. And here's some artwork from Gideon. I just love that. I feel like I'm in that warehouse right now.
I wish that I could like Dean, your work, and Pat, I'm not familiar with yours, but like that kind of efficiency is like that you guys have. Like I hope to get there someday. I just kind of feel like maybe if I make enough comics, eventually I'll learn how to simplify. But I'm not there yet. Like it's just funny what you said, Pat. It's like so much the opposite of the way I think about it. Like I wish I could just write a story because it would take me so much less time because I can't stop fucking rendering everything, but whatever.
All right, let's stop blowing smoke up each other's butt. I'm bringing in somebody that knows how to keep it real. Mr. Bob Fingerman.
Hey, Bob.
Hey. See, you caught me unawares. I was, of course, naturally somebody calls right when I'm when I'm going on live. I look very unprofessional.
Bob, you're a returning guest. How are you feeling lately?
Well, lately it's a complicated question.
Do people know, Bob? Do people know about
how they're doing these days easily?
Oh no, it is a complicated answer. Sure.
Lie to us, Bob. You're supposed to lie to us. Come on, man.
I'm doing good right now. I'm holding my little baby, so that makes me happy.
Oh, what's the name?
Bugsy.
Oh,
she's the best girl in the world.
Yeah.
She's very confused.
I mean, I don't know this Bob Fingerman. You know that, right? Like, this is not the Bob.
Yeah, you said that when we had him on.
No.
But I love it. And Bob's not going to be here for much longer, is he? Is that news? Is that news at 11?
I'm not really going public with it.
Okay, then I won't say that much.
At least not at this juncture. All I'll say is, heading off to I've done the years in California. Now it's off to the next adventure.
I'll when Dean says it like that, though, you sound so severe. Like, oh, he's not going to be with us much longer. Oh, okay, like.
Not like that. Not in that way.
Well, we don't know. Who knows? Who knows when your number comes up?
Oh, true.
That's true. So Bob, tell us, because you're famous for writing at least memoir adjacent comics, if not total. Terrible way to announce someone's death. I'm sorry, Carrie. I got to learn from you. You got to teach me how to do this right.
That's all right. I don't mind.
Doing a New York centric story too for many years. Minimum wage is based in New York.
Yeah. No, New York is literally everything I've ever done takes place in New York. I've been here in California now for almost 9 years. Haven't done a single thing here, but I'm planning to do something about it after I leave. I feel like then you get perspective on things. Although in New York, it was the only perspective I had, so that's all I ever did. But I do want to do. I've always hidden behind the cowardice of semi-autobiography. It's not cowardice. It gives you the permission to make shit up, fill in gaps. You don't have to be so completely beholden to the truth.
Well, I feel my superhero comics are more autobiographical than my autobiographics.
Oh, I've read some totally crazy genre stuff that is 100% autobiography, but you got to know the person to know how to read between all the, all the stuff. But there's definitely some books I could mention where I'm like, dude, that's very self-revealing in a very kind of obfuscated way. So, but I actually,
Bob, you did return to autobio, and then you said you actually liked it enough that you wanted to do more.
Yeah, that's actually I've written now a whole book's worth of just pure autobiography. And I heard you guys talking about the what do you do if you don't want to bruise people's egos or hurt their feelings, and I'll cross that bridge. Yeah.
Well, wait, you have done that, right? The ethical question of you have bruised feelings,
well, the
right?
thing is, even though I fictionalized, I asked pretty much everybody I've ever depicted, are you okay with me doing this story or that story? Really, the only one I didn't ask permission from in Minimum Wage was the person upon whom the character Sylvia Finucci was based, because we were no longer speaking. But I know she's seen it, and I know she was very flattered by it. So I had no axe to grind with her. So
right. And tell us a little bit about your story that you did for Real Life Comics.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I guess I could just go straight to the punchline. It was about being mugged as a child at Christmas time. New York was a very savage place in the 70s. People now, they just have no clue. All these people who are like so nostalgic, especially for New York, they weren't even there for. If you were there, you're like, no, it had its charms. It also was pretty fucked up. So it was definitely a fucked up place to grow up and come of age. That's for sure.
Well, if you're gonna mug somebody and make it matter, you do it on Christmas.
Yeah, and mug them when they're 4 feet tall and 11 years old,
and look like Dondi.
And look like Dondi, exactly. Yeah,
that's 2 weeks in a row we've had a Dondi reference.
Yeah,
I know it's weird.
Sorry, the camera angle's so weird. Whatever. It gives us both extra chins. That's fine.
So Gideon is from Texas and West Virginia, I think you said. Yeah. Pat, you're a native New Yorker.
No. I've only been here 23 years, but since Dean told me that you have to shit yourself on the street a couple of years ago, I've been strategically shitting on every corner of Greenwood Heights, at least trying to cover this neighborhood.
Dean does not give good advice.
He never shitted. He just said he never shitted. I thought he was trying to normalize something that he did. It turns out he's never shit himself in New York.
I was gaslighting you, but then remember we would go every Friday night on the subway, and I'd make sure that you would cry in front of people. So we do all kinds of adventures. Bob, are you familiar with Pat's work at all?
I was familiarizing myself with it, and it's great. I really like it. In fact, now I'm going to have to purchase as much as I can get.
Well, it's out of print, but they.
Oh well.
Oh well.
eBay. It's true. eBay, and the anthology.
So Bob, one final thing, and then you can stay on or split if you want. How was it different to go from semi-autobio to bio? And I know there's obvious differences, but in terms of what kind of stories you want to tell.
Well, I mean, the obvious thing is, see, this is the thing. There's that kind of strange line between narcissism and self-hatred. They occupy kind of the same liminal space in your brain. I don't really think I have any overly self-flattering stories, but I don't think I have ones that are self-excoriating either. I think they're just good stories, and I think I've gotten to an age, I'm old enough now, where there's enough distance between a lot of things where it's like, I could tell that story and I better do it now before my memory completely goes. So, although long-term memory is the one that persists. But I don't know. I mean, they're just, the other thing is I was kind of scared to share certain stories because I thought, well, is it too personal, or do I seem too mentally ill, or, you know, it's like, but I don't care now. I'm just like, whatever,
Right.
you know, they're good stories. Hopefully they're good stories. That's up to other people to decide.
Right.
Is this a brand new story, Bob, too? Like, this is not something that's appeared anywhere else?
Oh, the one in the anthology?
Real Life Comics, yeah.
Wow, giant finger. No, that's brand new. I did it for you guys.
It's amazing, guys. You can't. How can you pass up an original Bob?
They're all
Fingerman
new.
story?
They're all new. It's yeah, I'm trying to find another page from Bob here. I mean, how adorable is that little Bob right there?
I will say, all modesty aside, I was very cute. As my dad used to say, what happened to that beautiful boy? But
Great. Yeah, it's great. And thank you, Bob. And thanks. And I look forward to more autobio from you. You know, I hope you announce something soon.
yeah,
You know?
yeah, it'll be coming after the move. I got to finish up one job here, and then I'm packing up the studio. That's part of why that's why I went for the camera tilted up, is I don't like people to see it when it's messy in here. And it's very messy right now because it's pre-move
You're known for your
chaos.
modesty, Bob.
Hmm?
I said you're known for your modesty.
I like
You ready
that.
for our next guest, Dean?
Yes, he is. But and real quick, Printopia, and that's some
Business you're in.
business you're in.
Mm-hmm.
Says it right there. Oh, look at Bugsy. Hi, Bugsy. Bugsy's like, wait, you said my name.
She don't worry about it. There's all you hear
Oh,
is
hey,
the
I'm
silent
on.
modem sound.
Look who it is. Oh,
How you doing?
I thought it was the other Charlie. Is this Charlie? Put him back in the back.
Okay, we'll put him back in the bathroom.
Put
What
him
am I
back.
supposed to
you
do?
can
Am I
put me
supposed to
back
plug
in the-
before I go away?
Oh yeah, plug real quick before you split.
Okay. Three books. Three books from Cosmic Lion Productions are mostly currently available. Printopia, a very New York graphic novel. My career memoir, which is the little tag under there. That's Some Business You're In. Big giant 200 and plus page book about my 40 years doing this professionally. A very highly revised version of my Zombies versus Little Kids book, Recess Pieces, now Recess Pieces Reanimated, and two books coming out later this year, Bob Fingerman's Minor Achievements and Bob Fingerman's Rough Stuff, which will both be out for holiday season 2026.
Nice. Congratulations.
Thank you, Bob.
Okay. All right.
Thanks,
Thank you.
Bob.
Thank you all.
Good luck on the move, too.
Bye,
Thank you
Bob.
so much. Bye-bye. Hi, bye.
See you later.
Bye.
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 I can
Anything else?
check out to make room for other folks if there's other people.
We lost
Whenever you're ready, Gideon, you don't have to do all that.
It's on you. It's on you.
I'll stick around. I'll
Me?
stick around and hear what Charlie has to say, and then I'll bail.
Yeah, Charlie.
Sorry.
What do you
I
have to
can't
say?
carry the ball.
Too late.
Charlie, before we get into the story you did for the anthology,
Yeah.
give folks a little background of what
Oh
you do.
well, I mainly self-publish, but I've been in a few things of note. That massive Locust Moon,
Little Nemo.
Little Nemo thing, and the Dark Horse Once Upon a Time Machine stuff, and did some heavy metal before its current incarnation. But the past few years have been spent taking care of my parents, so I've been sort of like, I don't know, on hiatus. So when you offered me this gig, I was like, yeah, great, I'll do it. But this is the last thing I'm doing because I'm done. It's nothing but heartbreak, and I'm glad it's got well received so far. And
It's one of the most beautiful illustrated stories in the book. If you want, I remember when Doug brought the story, because we were co-curating and co-editing. So
yeah.
I reached out to some folks. He reached out to some folks, and some of the people he reached out to had never written a comic before. Didn't have an artist in mind. We were trying to go for a lot of people who wrote and drew their stories, so we wouldn't have to deal with that issue,
Yeah.
And so this story came in, and I kind of struggled with it because it's a very simple story, as you know.
Yeah.
But it wasn't, and then we nuanced it with some of the editing, but it wasn't until you illustrated that I got it, and I saw the power of this story.
Yeah, I actually drew it. I had it like 90% done. The pencils were done, and he wrote me back. He's like, "Dude, you realize I was talking to Joey Ramone, not Johnny Ramone."
Oh.
So I drew the whole thing with him talking to Johnny Ramone.
Oh.
And then
here's the
title.
I
was wrong.
Yep. Well, and then you did an amazing job. I'm trying to find. I mean, here are all four of them. Is the Ramones standing on line to buy stamps in a post office?
Yeah, it was kind of
the majority of the story. And I was like, "How is this a fucking New York story? And like, why?" And it was like, it's because this is the Ramones, and they're trying to buy stamps. I'm like, "Come on, man."
Yeah. It's funny when you asked me, I was like, I have a lot of cool New York stories myself. Like,
Well, we have to put you in volume 2 then, right? But the painting, the watercolor, the caricature that you did is incredible. And it suddenly I was like, oh yeah, of course this has to be in the book. The Ramones buying stamps at the post office has to be. And you sold it for me with your artwork. So thank you.
Yeah, I
so
got to
much
think of a way to get him some original art. I don't have.
Now that you've quit comics, are you gonna try and do comics?
Huh? What's that?
Now that you've quit comics, are you gonna try and do comics again?
Yeah, of course I am. I'm not
all right, good.
I'm not totally done.
Are you going to be in Kingston on Saturday?
Of course I am.
Sweet.
I paid the money. I gotta
That's right,
go.
baby. That was $35 a table, man.
I know, you can't beat it.
Can't beat it.
I hope I'm not in the ghetto though. Like I'm in the satellite.
Well, we're in two now. It's 2 churches instead of one.
Yeah, right. I'm in the other one.
Yeah. So I don't even know which one I'm in. I'll find it when I get there. But
one a synagogue and the other one a Baptist church.
Bio stuff now, and my ongoing pitch to Image, which I can never decide if I'm ever going to actually pitch it or not, because does the world really need another sword and sorcery story? But
well, if you add some sandals to it,
yeah, I could put some sandals in.
Put some sandals in there, or at least a Cthulhu.
It's funny, like every time I think of a storyline, I open up Instagram and Mike Mignola's already doing it, and I'm like,
God damn it,
he's too
he's
good.
Always doing
man.
that to the young folk.
Yeah, I know.
But what about I think whenever I think about trying to pitch a genre,
yeah,
it's going to sound really obnoxious. I think about adding 2 or 3 other genres to it. To make it like you've never seen this before,
That's true. I mean, yeah, if you are original, like
hold multiple
unlike me, I
concepts
guess. I don't know.
What was that, Gideon?
If your brain can hold
He's
multiple
muted.
concepts at once.
I think we've been taught that. I think television in the last decade has picked up where comics left off, where in comics is the unending story.
I mean,
and
the
you
audience
can juggle 30 different stories, 30 different characters, X-Men, Avengers, Justice League, Batman, Daredevil, whatever. And then we were able to consume and remember the storylines. And then suddenly TV started doing it,
Yeah, right.
Sure, no, I mean,
but then meanwhile, comics, it seems like, at least as far as the superhero comics I see, it's just the constant revision of the same thing,
Yep.
Certainly superhero comics. Like I don't pick up anything monthly anymore. Certainly not from the big 2, but just from what I see, it's like I already read that before when it was, this or, when it was Batman Year 1. It's hard to like do a better Batman story than that. I don't know what's.
Well, I mean, we've talked about this. Me and Vito have talked about the fact that growing up, you have your Batman. I have
Exactly.
my Ross Andrew Spider-Man. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
And like, yes, there are other people who come in and do a really great run, and you might pick that up. And then there's the die-hard loyal. Like, I'm a loyal Fantastic Four fan. I've been buying Fantastic Four since I was 12, no matter who's doing it.
Right.
Spider-Man. And then, and a lot of the other ones drop off because after a while it is regurgitated, or you just don't care, and that kind of stuff. So. Yeah. Oh well. Yeah. D&D multi-classing. What is that?
Yeah, man.
Like
Being like a thief.
genres, like they're saying.
Multi-classing. I got some D&D stuff here. I got my.
Wait, what did you say, Patrick?
Being like a multi-classing. You're a thief / mage. You're not just a thief.
Oh, multi-classing. Okay, that makes sense.
Yeah.
All right.
You have a minor.
He's muted.
Right. I get it. Who's muted?
Pat.
No, Pat was talking out loud.
Yeah,
I can't hear him.
He's just a little
What's
low.
wrong with my?
Yeah, he's a little low. Low.
I'm low.
You can hear me.
Yo, we can hear you just fine, Charlie. Yeah.
Whatever.
Hey,
You're
Tom,
good, Charlie.
congratulations.
All right,
Just
good.
Never get to it.
Good. Well, I appreciate you having me in it. I mean,
Well, we appreciate you, man. So thank you for doing that.
I mean,
Gideon, what are you drawing?
Oh, I'm working on book cover sketches I just finished up a book for First Second. I turned in the interior art months ago, but now we're finally working on the cover. So, I did like 30 thumbnails for the cover, and they picked 3 of them, and now I gotta, work them up a little bit more. And then they gotta, how it works.
I do, and I fucking hate it because it pisses me off that you got to come up not with one great idea, but they should be at least all good ideas, right? Or else why are you even showing them, right? And so you spend this amount of time trying to figure out. And I remember doing the alcohol when I did the cover for the Alcoholic. Okay, I did a tiny little drawing on a napkin that was very simple, right? And I showed them that because I just felt it was a power to it. They're like, no, show me some others. I did 30 other covers, and finally said, what was that first one again? And then
I like this phase. Like, what I don't like is the phase where, kind of like what you were saying, where it's like, okay, you do this sketch and it's got something to it, and then when they say, okay, work that up. Like, I like coming up with the 30 ideas. It's like thumbnailing. Like, that's the fun part. But then,
well, I guess it depends on what it looks like. It's like the way I do cover ideas is they're almost like pencils, so they're bordering on being more than just a layout. And because I'm trying to sell it. I'm trying to sell it to myself, Right. And the thing that always happens, I don't know if this happened to you or where you're at with the cover, but if let's say I'm doing 4 covers, or let's say 3, they always, and then I have a weak one that I threw in there to make the amount that they wanted. They always pick the one I don't want to do. And then they say to me, well, why'd you put it in the first place? I was like, because you asked for a certain amount of covers.
Yeah, they did pick one that I'm not so psyched about, but I think it's because it actually looks like a drawing, a personal drawing that I did for myself like a while ago. And I'm like, I don't know.
Right.
But I don't know. This book has been going on forever, like for years, and I'm just excited that it's
to get out the door and
my job is almost done, and that
right.
At some point next year it'll actually be out. So
right. Vito, was somebody before we bring in the next guest, was Tom, was he saying something?
Yeah, Tom, he just got announced in a new book called Dread the Hall H.
Oh, like a Comic-Con horror or something?
I think so, yeah.
Oh, that sounds cool.
So I congratulate him, and Carrie was saying that she likes the book. So
sweet. No, that congratulations.
So I want to bring in our next guest. He's one of the.
All right, I'm going to head out.
Oh, Gideon, thank you very much.
I'm going to make it too.
Yeah, thank you so much.
All right, guys. Thanks for coming.
I'm going to stay for a minute.
Please and thank you.
But
okay.
I want to bring in one of the contributors to our book here, our Real Life Comics. He is absolutely one of the kindest, most giving people I've ever met in the New York comic scene.
There he is.
And his name is Robert Sikoriak. Thank you. I haven't seen you in years.
And now he's gone.
Bounced.
I can't hear Vito. Can you hear me, Dean?
I can hear you, Charlie.
I can hear you too.
I can't hear him either. I can't figure it out.
Huh.
What the frick?
I'm going to talk right now. Can you hear me now, Charlie?
Yeah.
And
What
Vito,
about
say
me?
something.
Can you hear me? Can you hear me? Dean, can you hear
Can't
me?
hear
That
Bob
doesn't
either.
mean I can hear you. That does not make sense that you can only hear one person. That
I
doesn't
can
make
hear.
sense.
I can hear all of you.
Did
All
you
right,
hear my
great.
introduction?
Hey, Bob.
Hey,
Hello.
Bob.
Thanks
How
for
you
coming
doing,
out,
man?
man.
Sure.
Where's everyone going? Well,
I showed up.
No,
Jerry,
nowhere. We're in
Bob showed up and
comics.
people scattered, man. They couldn't be around a master like this guy. He's too
Oh, my goodness.
intimidating. Look how intimidating Arthur Corey
Oh,
is.
fuck yeah. Am I allowed to curse on the
Sure.
TV?
Yeah. Hey, man. For people who don't know you that listen to our show, could you give a quick introduction, then we'll talk about your contribution to the
Yeah,
anthology.
sure. Hi, everybody. Thanks for having me. Good to see you, Vito. It's been a while.
Yeah, long time.
I'm a cartoonist. You probably guessed that part. I've done stuff with Drawn and Quarterly for many years. I've done a number of books. I specialize in postmodern parody, pastiche, kind of in the tradition of Mad, but somehow I take myself more seriously. And I've adapted the Constitution into a graphic novel, and I've adapted the Apple iTunes terms and conditions into a graphic novel.
Wow.
And I also do adaptations of literature, and I, for the most part, avoid doing any autobiographical work whatsoever. So here I am.
And somehow we were able to convince him, Bob, to do an autobio story. And then the story he told, I think, is semi-meta in that when he does his carousel, he's going to be talking about the origin of carousel, which is what the story is about. Which is a very New York story because, just like, I've stolen the idea of carousel because once I saw carousel, I was like, oh, I'm going to read my comics, on a slideshow and in front of people, because that's a great idea. And at first I thought, oh, I didn't write these comics to be read out loud. So then it changed my writing style and made it so that when I wrote now, if I ever did get the chance to read it out loud, I did change the voice of how I write comics, So
that's really interesting.
That's thanks to you, Bob.
Yeah,
this is a very
interesting.
terrible drawing I'm about to show, but do you see this little piece of paper?
Yeah.
And you see, if I get a little closer, do you see that kind of thing?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
So, Bob, if I'm correct, did you famously illustrate the New Yorker cover when Princess Di passed away?
In fact, I did.
Yes. Was it the soldiers in front of the castle?
And
it was just a stoic,
is that correct?
kind of tall, like, this is terrible. But
yes, but
there was a little tear.
Yeah.
And it was this big. When I saw the original, I mean, maybe it's a little bit bigger.
No, that's true. I did draw it very small. I
drew it very small.
Even when I've worked for the New Yorker, I've tried to really mix up my style. So I did pastels, I did gouache, I've done colored pencils. I've worked in different media for the covers I've done for them. And in that case, Francoise, the art director, who's really smart, said the sketch has more power the drawing would have more power if it's smaller and blown up.
Right.
So you really can appreciate the mark making. And at that point, I was literally doing that cover in 12 hours. So I guess this should have been my story for the book. But anyway,
we'll save that for the next
12 hours, and it was a quick turnaround.
And it was and super intimate, like because of that, right? Like it felt intimate, the cover, because it was a close up of that sketch drawing,
yes,
that you did.
Well, sometimes the first thing that comes out of you is the best thing.
Yeah.
Well,
immediacy.
I did the small sketch, and then then they approved the sketch, and then I did a bigger version, and they were like, actually, the sketch was better.
Yeah, right.
So I redrew the sketch more tightly, but basically using everything I learned from doing the oversized one. So a lot of my process is like repeating the same drawing multiple times to figure out what I'm doing. So
totally. I mean, whenever I go to like a museum, like the Met or something, and they'll be like, I don't know if they've done this recently, but I'll see like a small sketch by Picasso or something or whoever, and then there's the big elaborate painting, and you see like the initial idea. I always like the initial idea better. It just there's a rawness to it and like a beauty that was unexpurgated. You know what I'm saying? Like they weren't thinking. and the minute you have to craft it now you're thinking, you know, and sometimes that can get in the way, which is really weird.
Yeah.
And
But
it's also very frustrating for artists who hear that all the time. It's like, oh, I liked your sketch better.
yeah, I know. And like, we should just publish our sketches, man. I mean, that's what we learned that lesson from Big Jimbo. What's his name?
Gary Panter?
Gary Panter, I feel like what he jots down was the first thing that he drew. Do you know what I mean? Like,
it definitely feels that way. There's a great poster he did for Pee-wee's Playhouse, and if I'm not mistaken, he drew like 50 drawings of Pee-wee to get one that he liked for the sketch. And
well,
small things blown up super big, and it was really beautiful. His work's amazing, but that's a whole other conversation.
Oh, absolutely. But there's a spontaneity that I feel like when you're doing a layout, or here's a quick idea or something. Again, I just want to earn the time that my comics can look like my layouts. It's a kind of jazz, you know. It's a free form in a way. You know, the problem is that you're not always drawing consistently. Like, a character has to have a certain nose or hairstyle, whatever. And often when you're scribbling, you're not thinking about that stuff. So what would happen is that you'd be like, I guess they're going to be the red character and they're going to be talking to the blue character or something, you know, like, because they're going to change the way they look. There's nothing consistent in that way, you know. So,
can we see his story?
So
I've always been curious as to your process, because your process, you know, you're always aping someone else's style.
Right. That's why I was so excited.
I was just always curious as to, like,
do you see this?
How refined your process is, like how immediate that is, or like how many states it has to go through before you get what you want.
Well, here's some of Bob's story right here.
Yeah.
If give you a sense.
In the case
and I don't even know if this is your actual style either, or that you created a style for this story. You know?
Well, I don't. I mean, it's certainly my mark making. I mean, I didn't disguise the way I was drawing, although I was certainly consciously trying not to over render the line quality, but I used as much photo reference as I could for the story. So it is fairly dependent on the photos I could find. I certainly composited scenes together. I had to, like, you know, compile different figures into one image, but I tried very hard to work strictly from photos to sort of avoid having to come up with a style. I didn't want to have to invent a style of cartooning, so I really wanted to rely on the reference. Also, because the story literally takes place over, oh my gosh, nearly 40 years from when I moved to Manhattan until today, I really wanted to be as accurate as I could be to all the parts of it. It's only 3 pages.
Right.
So I really packed a lot in there.
I mean, there's a lot of history in this comic. There really is. And the amount of reference you probably had to gather.
Yes, it was a little crazy. Luckily, I'd been documenting a lot of my shows, but even before that, to like pinpoint shows I'd seen before I started making my own work was a little insane, but it worked out. But Charlie, I'm afraid this isn't going to reveal too much of my style, but I really don't like the idea of style for myself.
I didn't mean style, I meant process, like how long it takes you to, like, draw Family Circus like Family Circus.
Oh, well, it does take a long time. I mean, before I was working digitally, I would make photocopies of reference. I would create books that were collages of the characters in different poses. And then I would start actually making collages where I'd composite them together. And then I would work on tracing paper, layers of tracing paper to refine it.
Same. Yeah.
So I still do that in Photoshop.
Well, also, Charlie, you can't really see this, and even if he showed it to you right now, the way the camera works, it alters how things look. The amount of times Bob has broken his hands to try to draw like another artist. He has the thickest wrists you've ever seen.
Oh yeah.
Whoa, hey-o. And you only draw in one way. What's wrong with you?
That's right.
Dean, I want to share 2 things real quick.
Yeah, I'd love to streamline my process, but it just doesn't.
Here goes this comment here. from Carrie. I love scripts and sketches. If you're putting out a crowdfunding project, put it in an add-on that is the script and the page progressions. Many of us will buy it. You were talking about,
Really?
yeah,
Okay.
talking about like doing layouts and stuff. And then the second thing I wanted to say was I want to share a little anecdote about Bob, basically, but indirectly.
Before you do that
Uh-huh.
talk, I would say that in response to that last comment, a book of sketches or preliminary drawings would be really interesting, especially for an anthology where you'd be seeing like all the different approaches that people take.
Oh yeah.
So I don't know if it's too late for this one, but that might actually be an interesting add-on.
That is interesting.
With 50 different artists, that seems like
Yeah.
that's really fascinating.
It would be fascinating because you really would get an education just by seeing that alone. I think what I would do is, and I do this in some of my teaching, is when I have a certain amount of people, I give them the same story in just text, not like page one, panel one. I just say this text has to be in the story. So it's about 2 or 3 paragraphs. I say you have 2 pages to do it in, and then everyone does it completely different, and they're all right. It's crazy. I love it. I love that exercise. And I'd like to see a book of the same story. Well, you know, Matt Madden did it to himself.
Absolutely.
99 ways to tell a story or whatever.
Right.
Yeah.
I'm looking for it. Yeah, that's a great book.
Yeah.
The other thing I was going to say was, so I live in Pittsburgh now. I haven't seen Bob in many years.
Vito.
And I'm sorry, Charlie, he can't hear my little anecdote. But I work at Target as my day job. And we got this book in one day, and I was like, another book by a celebrity, big deal, you know? And I started flipping through it. I was like, hold on. And then I looked through. The book is the Tom Hanks, The Making of Another Major Motion Picture Masterpiece. And Bob does a comic in it. I ran around the store to every employee. I know this guy. This guy is great. Like, you know, you don't understand. He's one of the nicest guys I've ever met. I don't know if I sold the book that day, but I was so proud that I knew him. But I had.
Thank you. That's great. The only time my work may appear in a Target. This was an amazing job, an assignment. So it's actually 3 different stories. The book is about making. The book is about the making of a motion picture. It's completely fictional, but in the story by Tom Hanks, the movie is based on a comic, but the comic is also influenced by several other iterations of other comics. So I actually illustrated 3 different comics for the story. One was allegedly made in the 40s and looks like a war comic. One that was made in the 70s that's like an underground style comic. And the third one is an adaptation of the fictional movie as a movie tie-in comic. So it was it was such a dream job for me to be able to play with 3 different styles. And basically it's showing the iteration of this character from the first inspiration in the 40s through the 70s to today. And it was really an amazing job. And it was great.
You worked on a project.
Say enough nice things about Tom Hanks.
I'm sure. Well, he's America's dad. I'm jealous of a project you got to work on because I wanted to do what your portion of the gig was, and that was Fantastic Four: Unstable Molecules, where James Sturm and Guy Davis did the lead story, but then there was like kind of like a little interstitial type other story. Was that like more harkening on the 1960s aspect, or maybe I forget again because I haven't seen it in a while.
Yeah, the conceit of it was the main story was the story of the real people,
right? Like an autobio memoir kind of.
Yeah,
right.
So it's about the real people who inspired the Fantastic Four,
right? Or
at least inspired the Fantastic Four comics. In any case, it's about them in the 50s. So the comic I drew is a comic that Johnny, the Human Torch, before he's the Human Torch, a story that the Human Torch, Johnny is reading. So it's based on 50s monster comics, but it also has a female superhero in it, and it also has like a little Archie sidekick. It's sort of like every genre of the 50s kind of mashed into one story.
Mm-hmm.
And the idea for that was to really make it feel like a 50s Marvel comic.
And it was also the conceit of the 1950s going into, before 1961, when the Fantastic Four, got up on that rocket ship and got mutated by cosmic rays.
Yes.
But do you remember, maybe you can confirm this, and not to bring it down a little bit, but part of the story, because it was autobio, was to explain how when they got hit by cosmic rays, why Reed Richards would stretch and the Invisible Girl became, Sue became became invisible. Johnny Storm became fire, and why did the Thing become a monster? Now, if it's Jack Kirby, you're thinking Gollum. He's like a Gollum, a Jewish kind of hero, right? But I think what James Sturm originally wrote, and you can confirm this, Bob, or not, was that she was feeling invisible, as a woman in America, so ergo, although the most powerful character is the Invisible Woman, her powers are in. You can't, there's so many ideas of how to use that power, right? Hothead Johnny Storm, okay, fire, right? The brain of Reed Richards is constantly stretching, can go beyond the universes and whatnot. And why did the Thing become a monster? Oh, because at that time he tried to rape Sue in college.
What?
And that didn't make it into the book. But that's what I heard, was that was the original idea.
Well, if it's not, I don't actually remember.
It's not in the book. It's not in the book. But I'd heard that was the original idea for to explain the Thing.
Yeah, I mean, the book certainly makes parallels to the characters, but it's not implicit in any way. I mean, it's easy to figure out. Sue feels invisible. Johnny is a hothead.
Exactly.
I don't remember that story, and I can neither confirm nor deny. And I'm not being cute. I honestly don't remember.
No, I didn't. Yeah, and again, I didn't even think
that just doesn't ring true to Ben's character
at all. At all.
Well, it's not in the book, so
it's not in the book. But I had heard that was
promoting this idea.
Yeah,
maybe that was the fourth sketch cover that they threw out.
That was the fourth sketch cover. They were like, no,
they didn't want that one.
But it was the one that. Well, never mind.
It
resonates. Sure.
I get why it. I
heard it for the first time.
Remember that. Even in the conceit. I mean, James told me about the story long before it came out, but I don't remember. I honestly don't remember that. So,
well, anyway,
not to say that it wasn't. Not to say he wasn't.
Who knows? Again, it could be hearsay. I didn't hear it from James, and I remember hearing a long time ago, going, "What?" And I was like, "Ooh, that's messed up, obviously." But it was like be interesting that he got the in some ways, he's got the most messed up power, like besides strength, he's grotesque and people fear him, and that's why he has to be ever loving blue-eyed, just to make people know that he's a good guy, kind of a thing. So
yeah.
And now
Dean, it's messed up that you wanted to draw that.
No, I didn't want to draw that. I want to draw what Bob drew.
I know.
I wanted to draw what Bob drew.
I'm kidding.
Although doing another like memoir type FF would be a fun project. Are you kidding me? Absolutely. So Bob, you have a book coming out soon.
I do. Gosh, I better have that copy someplace close. Where is it? Oh no, I forgot to bring it. I'll be right back. Oh, is it here? There it is. It's in my
Look under the table leg. Is it holding it, propping anything up? Okay, there we go. There we go.
That's funny.
So this is my next book. I had done the Constitution, and I felt like there was a little bit more to wring out of America's history. So this book is the Declaration, but on the other side, it is the
Peter Griffin
Proclamation.
Is Emancipation illustrated?
Yeah.
Wow.
So double-sided book.
Wow. So is that double the size of the other book?
No, it's actually exactly the same size as this because these documents are much shorter than the Constitution.
Got it.
But I really wanted to talk about the ideas of America slowly coming toward their fruition. So basically starting from the idea that all men are created equal to Lincoln saying, well, wait, what does that actually mean?
What does that mean? So can you, because you're going to be asked this question when the book comes out and you're doing signings and a tour or whatever, but what compels you to make those books?
Well, when I explained my introduction to everybody at the beginning, it might not have been clear, but I really love playing with different styles. All of my work adapts different historical cartooning styles, and I hit a wall about 10 years ago where I was like, this is going very slowly for me, because I was spending like 2 years on a Batman story that adapted Crime and Punishment. It was 10 pages long. It's like, this isn't really a productive way of making comics. But I so wanted to play with other styles and other ways of making comics that I started doing books like this, and also the terms and conditions, where each page is in the style of a different cartoonist. So this is a way.
Damn.
So this is 100 pages, 110 pages. So this is a way for me to sort of like play with different styles, and also sort of tip my hat to all the people who are working. I mean, it's sort of related to Carousel, which we didn't entirely explain, but Carousel is a show I do where I have artists read their work, you know, in theaters or in clubs with slides. And I really like anthologies. I used to work at Raw Magazine a million years ago. I really like the idea of bringing different styles together, whether that's like physically in a room with artists or whether that's in books. So I've always tried to find texts that are worthy of reading and worthy of me like spending the time making into comics, which is how I got to these you know, how I get to these historical documents. But I also really love trying out different approaches of making drawings, and being able to do that with lots of different artists is just great.
No, you're one of the best when it comes to that, man.
And man, there's no one close.
Oh, thanks.
Yeah, right.
No way.
Seriously.
No.
There's a
And
couple.
I love your sense of community, and I love, like, you know, I don't know if you ever were down the Lower East Side when Reverend Jen would do her anti-slam poetry, anti-slam, and
yeah, absolutely.
You know, like you telling your story about the Carousel in the truncated 3 pages you did it in. There's so many other things like that the city has yielded. I don't know what it's like these days anymore in 2026 terms, you know, with our phones and everything, you know. I still think stand-up comedy is a thing more than ever now. I think that's how the kids like to go out and experience, you know, something is with like, you know, an anthology of like 5 or 6 comedians, you know, at Union Hall or whatever, kind of a thing. But I love that energy and what it does when you know, bump up against different, you know, sensibilities, you know. So anyway, thank you for that, and it's awesome.
Absolutely.
And I can't wait for people to read the origin of Carousel.
Thanks.
And you're going to be trying to do some more with the anthology, hopefully, in the future.
Oh, 100%. Yes.
Meaning like a real life comics Carousel type thing, hopefully.
That would be great.
Yeah.
I'd love to do that. Just to go back to your question as far as what people are doing today, and also sort of to correct something you said earlier. You said you were inspired by me and my comics readings, which is great. But as I point out in the story, I was not at all the first person to do this. A lot of people mentioned Vaughn Baudet, who was doing these events in the 70s. But I'd even say like what Winsor McKay was doing in vaudeville is like exactly related.
Sure.
To the idea of like performing with your drawings. And also that it's so much easier to make comic slideshows now with digital slideshows. There's a number of ongoing series of people doing comics readings and like shows with comics and animation in Brooklyn. I see a lot of people doing this now, and it's great because it's a never ending stream of people who want to be out in public and want to connect with people. So it's actually it's an expanding medium, honestly. I mean, just the idea of cartoon slideshows is just an expanding medium. So yeah.
Which is funny because traditionally a lot of cartoonists are introverted and shy and don't want to be in public and, you know, perform their comic. And it kind of breaks them out a little bit to be able to do it, you know?
Yeah. And some people really take to it. But I also, as I mentioned in the story, there is something very charming about an unassuming person on stage presenting their work, because sometimes, you know, their personality comes through in their comics and it comes through in their presentation. And I actually think that's a really beautiful thing.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
You got me to do that one comic that was wordless.
Yeah.
So I'm like standing there like, what the hell am I supposed to say?
Yeah.
I have to run down the cast of characters from elementary school.
I thought that was great. You kind of gave us the director's commentary. I thought that worked really well.
Right.
So there's a million ways to do it. And
Sure.
I always
Sure.
tell people, if they, some people think, oh, it's just going to be very rigid and very predictable, but it doesn't have to be. I don't have any rules for doing it. I do it my way, but you can please do something to surprise me.
Sure.
Totally. No, I love it, and thank you.
I'm
Vito,
gonna
do we have
take
anybody
off.
else in the background?
Right
Oh,
now
you're
we
out,
don't.
Charlie?
Yeah, I'm gonna see you tomorrow.
Good to see you.
All right, I'll see you tomorrow
Yeah,
night,
see ya.
Charlie.
See you. Nice meeting you, Vito. Although I couldn't hear you the entire time.
Okay.
It's better that
Okay.
way, Charlie.
Yeah.
Better that way.
Well, I'm getting better at reading lips because I'm going deaf from playing in a rock band and shit. So, all right. See you later.
Bye.
See you tomorrow night.
Bye bye.
Thanks, Charlie.
Bob, you're gonna be at Bix, right?
Yes.
Both
2
days?
days. Yes.
2 days.
I know you're
okay.
there on Sunday.
I'll be there Sunday because I'm doing this Kingston show, and which
Oh, now
yeah,
you're muted.
it-
That's so funny. I can't hear you now.
me
Can you
can't
hear
hear.
me?
I can hear you, Vito.
He's
You
talking.
can't hear me now.
Wow.
That is
I
weird.
can hear you, Vito.
That's weird. That is weird. What's going
I
on?
wonder if it's the third position.
I'm
You
so
can't
sorry,
hear the
Dean.
person
Can you
in the
hear
third
Dean?
position.
I can
Or
hear
second
Dean.
position.
Yeah, he's talking about positions.
Maybe this is a sign for me to get off.
Oh,
Although
no.
I really enjoyed talking with you, but I also don't want to be saying I can't hear what Dean says.
I know. All
I feel
right.
like we need to have you on again at some other point because I could talk to you for hours. Like you're absolutely one of the like I said, like I don't live in New York anymore, and like some of the things that I miss about New York are being around guys like you, who number one, you give your time so freely, like even if it was in a comic store, you were just able and willing to just talk about comics and talk about the things you love, and I don't think that's appreciated enough. And so for me, I would love to have you back on like at some point for a real
thanks.
conversation. But
Yeah.
I know Dean, you can't hear Dean, but he's pretty much agreeing with everything.
Okay.
I agree.
I'd be happy to come back, and it's great to see you again, Vito. And
Thank you.
Yeah, I'm really sorry I can't hear you, Dean. I feel bad,
Okay.
but at least I'm getting half of you. And I will. By all means, I have a book to promote. So
Yeah, we'll do
happy
it.
to come out again.
Absolutely.
And yeah, for those of you who are in Brooklyn, I'll be at Bix on Saturday and Sunday, and I know Dean will be there on Sunday.
Yep. He's nodding his head. He's agreeing. All right. Thank you, Bob.
You're welcome.
Can you hear me, Vito?
I can hear you just fine. Can you hear me?
Okay.
Oh,
All right.
so
Yeah.
Her position's gone. So
We
let's
might have another person hopping on in a little while. We'll see. I can actually text to see if they're going to come on.
Yeah, that's
But
fine.
we have a little bit of time left, I think. And is
Yeah,
there
let's
any
talk
questions
about-
from anybody watching us, or?
We have a couple of topics that I wanted to bring up
Okay.
too, since this is our regular show as well. Number one, the Disney layoffs, man, have affected Marvel Comics. What is going on? Like, it's insanity.
So there was Disney is doing a restructuring, and in their restructuring, they let go of 1,000 Marvel employees. And again,
1,000 Disney employees, like some of because there aren't. I don't think.
I thought it was 1,000 like Marvel as well. Like,
well, maybe on the movie side, because I know that they let go of like a couple of the animators and not animation in terms of like Disney animation, but animators like for special effects.
Right.
The character designers, like some. And here's the funny thing. I almost wish we kept Bob on for this. They're talking about replacing all these people, all these positions with AI. And we just talked to a guy who does everything that AI can do with one hand.
you're talking about Arthur Koryak.
Yes. Like,
Yeah,
I mean,
but also it takes time, and I think AI just speeds everything up
absolutely.
and does a whole million other things too. Probably, right?
Yeah.
So I'm not saying I love that, but like I think what recommends when you just said like our Koryak is a one-stop shop, is that you can then only get what he makes from him, and that's the future.
Yeah.
Okay, because giant corporations keep teaching us to not work for giant corporations.
Say it louder for the people in the back. My God,
Right.
that is the best thing I've ever heard.
I mean, it's the truth. So, like, take note, and the loyalty and the dedication that these people put into these companies to then, on a whim, and maybe not a whim, But I will say this: I think part of the equation is that the CEOs or whoever, the people who want to be making money, just want more money next year and more money the year after. So you have to cut things, right? And like, what do you cut? You cut people, because corporations don't care about people. They just care about their bottom line and IP or whatever the hell they're making, you know? And so, yeah, it's horrific, you know? And I feel so bad. And then I did read, I think on Bleeding Cool, that 3 Marvel editors or 4 Marvel editors got fired, you know? And
on the editorial side, but the more, I mean, not to diminish from anybody losing their job, because it's awful, but the biggest name that I saw was David Gabriel, who I've known for many years at Marvel. I've worked with him in terms of doing signings when I was at Hanley's, and like the guy was like, he was a bulldog, man. He was a good employee. Like, I mean, he would go at it, you know, with just about anybody. And I feel bad because like you can't just replace that guy. Like that's not, and it's not just like his job, but it's the person that did the job. Like he was perfect for that job.
But maybe, and to play devil's advocate, maybe he's thinking in old terms. Maybe he's not thinking the way. Although who's overseer that's probably older than him, telling him to get out of the line so he can bring in the newbie in, you know? But I don't know. I don't know. I don't really know how it works. I don't totally understand it. I know that just that my instincts, my gut says, Dean, you are struggling more than ever in your life at near 59, end of May. But this is where you need to be right now, because it's the industries are falling apart. They're shaking apart, you know, like it's insane. It's insane that I have a subscription to Hulu, and for like, I don't know, let's call it an hour TV show, there'll be like a half hour worth of ads.
Yeah.
And I'm paying for that. Like, it's not like I got free Hulu and okay, I watch some ads and that's how it works, like back in the day television, you know, network TV. But no, I'm paying a lot of money to see a lot of ads. And I guess there's another level I could pay a lot more for no ads.
Right.
Like it's just all ads.
This brings up an interesting thing I read today. The CEO of Sony, I would say Sony Pictures, or you know, whatever the film angle is, there's a CinemaCon, which is basically all of the theater owners have their own convention, and so you're hearing, you know, some leaks about like trailers, you know, like, oh, this is what's in this trailer or whatever. You know, I think they released a trailer for, speaking of AI, the Val Kilmer movie that we talked about a couple of weeks ago. And that was on the news tonight, number one. But going back to the Sony CEO, he said, you know, to these theater owners, he said, the way we are losing viewers, like we're losing people in the cinemas. You got to lower prices, get rid of ads, and have movies in theaters longer. That's how you know, like this is a CEO of a company telling other CEOs you're doing it wrong. And I mean, I don't know if it's
no, and I love that because they're right, because it costs maybe $35-40 to go see a movie, get popcorn and like a drink, and then you're watching a whole bunch of ads, and it is absurd. I think I saw Tarantino recently, and I don't know if it was an older take or a more recent one, but you know, he's getting into playwriting now, right?
Yeah.
And he was saying how movies don't exist anymore. As far as he's concerned, movies stopped in like 2019 when he made Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, right? Of course. And but you know, he was just saying that the theater experience, the movie going experience, is donezo. You know, I want to see that in a minute. What Carrie said, but I just want to finish my thought.
Yeah.
And so, and he was saying what's beautiful, and this is something I've experienced as a playwright. What's amazing is the undivided attention that you need. He didn't say this, I'm paraphrasing. The undivided attention that you need to have in order to go to the theater, where you are cell phone down, okay? And you have to watch a story with a bunch of other people in a room, beginning, middle, end, right? And that's the nature of plays and theater. Right. That's how you do it. You know, in a movie theater, I mean, yes, of course, you can get up and go to the bathroom or whatever, but in movie theaters, they're now trying to keep you there by serving you food. And then you're paying your bill in the third act of the fucking movie. And, you know, you're putting up cards and people look at their cell phones anyway. You know, in a theater, no one's looking at their cell phone. They can't, you know, it's super frowned upon. and or maybe some do, but whatever. And I feel the same way with the comic experience. When you're reading my comic, you know, all right, it takes 10 minutes maybe to read one of my comics.
Hey,
I hope you have that 10 minutes straight. You know what I'm saying? Like,
hold it up while you're talking about it, because you just sent out a Kickstarter update.
oh right, I have a. Oh my God, I should do that. Hold on a second. So I have. Oh, it's right here.
Look at that, everybody. He's a winner.
Back cover. And we have some naughty stuff in here, but I'll just kind of flip through it really quickly, you know, like
that's the Red Hook stuff from the paper, right? Yeah.
It's our review. There's a
like translate. Oh yeah, this
little Billy Dogma, double page spread. That's a lot of fun. That I think you've seen before.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, there's some stuff on here we're showing right now that nobody's seen this stuff, you know, like I got AI Joe in there. Here's some COVID Cop pages.
The COVID Cop story is great, by the way. I've read the script. I haven't read the comic.
Oh, thank you.
I've read the script.
It's just the color schema is crazy. It's so much fun.
And that's the thing too. Like looking at the book as a whole, like you have different color schemes for different things, and it's a complete book, but it's so like I want to say all over the place and have it mean a bad thing, but like
there is a cohesion in their themes because who was reading it and telling me like, oh, this is all together. This like makes sense, you know. Hold on, Cynthia Von Bueller just wrote me, and I'm trying to get her on the show.
Oh, please.
Let me just write her back. Say, we're still on. Come and join us for a few. Let's see if she gets this email.
Few is spelled F-E-W.
Say it again.
Few is spelled F-E-W. I know you have problems with 3-letter words.
So what did Carrie say? It was like a paragraph there.
Yeah, here, let me put it back up. She said, no creative should be replaced with AI, but editors, do they have ChatGPT searching top keywords for people that should work on things and with others based on the metrics of prior works? I mean, no, I couldn't tell you about algorithms, but like that's pretty much what editors like not submission editors, maybe not story editors, but maybe like what are they called?
Acquisition editor? You mean acquisition?
Yeah. Like,
you know, it's funny because I don't know the answer to that, and I understand the cynical response to that because I do think that there's a lot of that kind of juggling happening. But, you know, I remember when I first met Bob Schreck, you know, and he was working at Dark Horse, and then he moved over to DC, and like he hired Evan Dorkin and Mike Allred to do, oh God, not the Inferior Five, the Metal Men.
Mm-hmm.
And I remember him showing me pages of the Metal Men, and then someone, I'll just say Dan DiDio, put the kibosh on the project because what you would find out later is that he wanted to write all those really cool kind of C-level characters and Jack Kirby characters, right?
Mm-hmm.
But so he was kind of like, it would go through part of the process and then suddenly it would get 86th. And I might be getting this a little bit wrong, so forgive me, Evan Dorkin and Mike Allred. But that comic never came out, and I don't know what happened. But the reason why I brought it up is because Bob Schreck had such a great Rolodex, and literally a Rolodex with pieces of paper and phone numbers on it, okay? And he had his ear to the ground on cool alternative talent. And, you know, then he went on to create Oni Press, okay?
Didn't he do Oni before DC, though?
I don't remember which one it was, but and it didn't Oni, wait, it was Dark Horse Presents that Frank Miller's Sin City debuted in, right? Mm-hmm. So I think that was a Schreck acquisition, you know.
Right.
Again, great Rolodex. But then what happens, Vito, after your Rolodex gets old, and unless you keep adding new names and you keep your ear to the ground, and these days, what is it, Instagram? Like, where are you finding new talent today?
TikTok,
you know?
Stuff like that. You know,
or TikTok, yeah.
Here's the thing, and Marcus, I want like if you can in the comments elaborate on what you mean by the TikTok effect. I'd like to talk about that for a second. But the other thing about Bob Schreck and a couple of the other guys is that
Axel Alonso had a great Rolodex.
Absolutely. Like they had this method of kind of sussing out talent that I thought was like the problem with Dan DiDio, if I remember correctly, was he had a real hard-on against animated looking art, which is very weird because he came from animation. So you were a part of that. I think Allred was a part of that, like in terms of like, you know, hiring him. He got a couple of projects, but probably not nearly as many. Darwin and he would clash a lot, you know, about things. New Frontier didn't get the advertising that, say, Identity Crisis did. They came out at the same time. And I remember being up at the DC offices, there was a 3 or 4 page New Frontier prelude comic that ran in Wizard magazine. And Chiarello showed them to me. Mark Chiarello, who was the art director at one point over there. And I was like, oh, this is great. I can't wait for this book. And I just remember not seeing any ads, no like in-store, you know, there were, but not to the extent that they were. And don't get me wrong, Brad Meltzer, best-selling author, I get it. You know, like this was the point in Marvel and DC's rivalry at that point where it was exclusive contracts, and it was like, let's hire the big star, let's get Kevin Smith, let's do, you know what I mean? Like it was constantly, it's like guys like me and you, we couldn't get work, you know, like it was like if we did, it was like in a small anthology that eventually got canceled and put into a drawer.
And then Marvel had a little bit of a indie renaissance where I got to do Spider-Man's Tangled Web and a Thing miniseries with Evan Dorkin and, you know, that kind of stuff. And they were open to that. And I think Bill Jemas might have been a part of that as well, you know, with Axel Alonso.
Joe Quesada.
Joe Quesada a little bit, you know, although he has a particular taste as well, you know.
Right.
And that's fair, you know. But yeah, you know, these things open up, and you know, and then we get things like Bizarro Comics, or we get Strange Tales, where they literally leaning in on, you know, alternative kind of
world's funniest,
or was it funnest or funniest?
I can never say it right. I don't know which one it was. Okay, so this is Marcus's. The lack of attention people are willing to give things. TikTok videos are already short, and you have people swiping, not even having the patience to finish a truncated presentation. That absolutely makes sense. I just want instant gratification.
Yep.
The editor is a chef. I want something that's prepared with the best ingredients, not fast food that pleases the masses. This is from Carrie again. Carrie, don't feel bad about, you know, commenting. We love your comments.
Yeah.
But yeah, like this is a comment that's right on. You know, like I don't think, like I said, you know, there's a
Hold on one second. There's a giant noise happening at my studio, and I just want to make sure that there's nothing.
It's not Cynthia trying to break in.
Hold on.
Because that would be funny. Like all of a sudden Batman swings into Dean's studio from the window, just breaking it out. You know, the other thing too is you guys might remember a couple weeks, maybe it was right after I came back from New York. Dean had an incident in his studio where someone there was like a fight or something down the hall, and Dean is the type that will run towards trouble. You know, like he's done it plenty of times since I've known him. Most people run the other way or lock themselves in. Dean's the one running to trouble like an idiot. Hey, Dean, you're back.
Hi, I'm an idiot. Yeah, no, it's okay. It's just very loud. Someone's stacking pieces of wood, and it's just very loud. It's crazy. So, so wait, we were just talking about the truncated experience, where people just don't devote any amount of time to indulge a story or indulge something, you know, it seems. I don't mean like everyone's like that, but it seems to be, you know, when I was going to say editorial. I don't know who tells people in TV shows what to do or in movies, but Jen is Art and Chaos. Hi, Jen.
Oh, hey, Jen. I didn't know that was you.
Thank you. I wish we could get you on, Jen. Paint on your face or not. Please, just join us for 5 minutes. No, I was going to say, what was I just saying about? Just messed
truncated.
Me up.
Like things are truncated. It's not everybody, you were saying.
Oh, I was saying editorial or whatever. The showrunners or the producers or higher ups are like, remind everyone what the story is every 5 to 10 minutes because they might be looking at their phone. So now. And like that's not how stories are told, you know.
No.
Like I get it once in a while, maybe as you arrive at the third act, maybe kind of remind us, what the hell did we just watch the first 2 acts? Like sew it up, remind us what's going on so we can get into that third act. Sometimes I'm guilty of that,
I think the one that makes me think of that is Fight Club. Like there's like when he starts figuring it all out, and then you start
Right.
seeing pieces play out.
Right.
So that's the one that makes me think of that. I don't think a lot of movies do it a lot in terms of like
No, not a lot.
not gratuitously, but like I don't know that I appreciate it or not appreciate it when it happens, but
well, when it's done well, because again, there's a nuance to it, right? But when it's blatant and literally to serve the people, I'm not here to serve people that are not watching. I'm not interested in people who aren't interested.
yeah,
How about that?
yeah, that's a good point.
The end. Like then you don't get to enjoy what I made, And listen, there's a 24-page COVID cop story in here that could easily have been 36 pages if I want to elaborate on, but because of the art of comics and the idea of reducing certain things into words and pictures and hoping that people can follow it and make their own conclusions on certain things, while the story moves forward, I chose the way I did this, so Marcus says it's why we keep seeing new #1s every year from the big 2. It's also because people, I think, don't want to pick up, issue 637 as their first Spider-Man comic,
Meanwhile, we never
I feel like they're on the ground level, whatever. I just think Jen asked if she could do audio only. Yes.
Yeah, you just don't have to put your video on. That's all.
Yes. Keep your video off. This is real time, people. This is how we do it.
One of the most beautiful people I know doesn't want to show her face.
I know. It's
She's so silly.
Whack. She's whack.
The other thing, big news this week is it was revealed that cover artist extraordinaire Adam Hughes has been diagnosed with colorectal cancer. In the article that I read, they said yes, and it's an aggressive form of cancer. It's a quick acting form of cancer, but somehow they caught it in enough time that recovery options look good. So let's give a hope and a prayer to Adam and to Allison, his
son,
partner. Yeah,
right. And he's hi Jen.
Hi, can you hear me?
Yep.
Oh, there you go. You're loud enough. Before we move on with you, and thanks for joining us. I also wanted to say something about Adam Hughes. Adam Hughes, like an Alex Ross, or like one of the greatest cover artists of all time. He's also really good at interiors, and I wish he did more interiors.
Yeah, absolutely.
Anyway, big ups to him, and I hope he heals well. And I heard that their dog also has cancer, but it's when it rains, it pours. Right. Hey, Jen.
You can put up a picture of me or something.
Oh, we can't. Like that's the
other one. Draw a picture. I'm gonna draw a picture.
Oh, I can't figure it out.
Oh, that's fine. Right.
I'm in the middle of right now, and it's a little chaotic over here.
I got you.
Thank you for joining us, though.
Thank you for having me.
I'm very excited. I didn't think I would ever get a chance to say that I'm in a book with Jen Ferguson. And I'm not saying, I don't say that like lightly. I mean, like I never would have, thought that, you would be in a book, that like in a comic anthology, number one. And then number two, like you are one of the best artists that I know, like personally know. So it is an absolute pleasure to say that my name and your name share a marquee.
I feel the same way.
Flattering. I don't think I'd ever thought I'd be in a book with comics in it either. But I don't know if I deserve such praise. But
absolutely, like
all of these incredible artists in the book, it's really amazing, and it's really thanks to Dean that I did this project with JG Thurwell, which was really fun.
That's a hell of a pull, too.
That's right. And how many other women artists are in the book? Do you know?
2. No, I'm kidding.
No, there's Cynthia Von Bueller, who's the first page of the comics, basically.
Krista Cassano,
Cecil Castellucci, Jennifer Hayden is in the book.
Anna Senti.
Anna Senti.
Bunch of us.
There's a lot of women, and
Yeah, you're in good company.
You're in good company. Hold on a second. There's so much noise happening over here. It's like murder in the background. I don't know what's going on. Nick Bertozzi's in it. He'd appreciate that joke. But wait, there was oh God.
Right?
Wesley Allsbrook is an incredible artist. Ariel Catan, one of my studio mates.
That's right.
And
Whitney.
It's too many women. Whitney Matheson. There are too many women in here. I think we need to get rid of them. Some of them. Wendy Blake, who wrote a story.
What were you looking for?
Rachel Mayer. What?
Rachel Mayer. Of what kind of story? I mean, maybe you've already talked about this, but what are the parameters? Like, what were you looking for in terms of like a unique?
Hold on a second. Julia Wirtz, Liana Fink. Sorry. Sarah Grillo. There's more women than men. I want to see more men in here. What the hell? So what were the perimeters? I mean, we've been talking about this on some of the other podcasts.
Well, but, I mean, personally, both of you, Vito too. Like when you said, Dean, that it's if you go to the bathroom, I'm saying it in a more polite way. If you go to the bathroom in New York, like, not in a restroom, right? And I think we've all done that, no? But is there some other experience?
Jen, you have to show your face if you're going to talk about poop. All right, or else I'm going to say this is what you look like. I just drew this in your honor.
That's what I feel like right now.
Oh, stop.
After going to an art opening and having 1.5 glasses of wine.
She had 1.5, and then she was hungover.
That shows.
Wait, what's Tom doing here, man? He's interrupting our conversation here with these.
Oh, you don't have to like
the CNN of comics.
Here, let's do this. So,
all right,
as we were talking about Adam Hughes having cancer, Gib Bickle of Laughing Ogre announced that he has cancer. So they're going to be doing a sale of his RPG and comic collection in May. Gotcha. And then it's Jeff Smith and Chris Sprouse, who I believe are Ohio guys. I know Jeff Smith is. I'm not sure.
Oh, Jeff Smith. I didn't know Chris Sprouse was an Ohio guy.
I'm not sure, but they're going to be helping support, Laughing Ogre with that as well.
Right.
So, sorry about that.
Absolutely. So Jen, you were asking, what do we look for in a New York story, right?
And also maybe like when did you? Well, you were born here, Vito. I don't know where you were born. Were you?
Staten Island.
Okay, well, you guys are already New Yorkers. I was just thinking, like, to me, an interesting thing is people who come from somewhere else, like I did. What was the first moment that you felt like, oh, I actually am a New Yorker, like I belong here? And I think for me, it was after 9/11. There was like a little fundraiser for the firehouse up the street in Dumbo, and I was living in my studio, and I walked up there, and it was just such a weird time. And those fire guys, whatever, a whole bunch of them had lost their mates there.
Yeah.
And they were, just fundraising, and I was so broke. And I think I gave like $20, which for me at the time was a lot of money.
A lot, yeah.
And I remember, I actually this is a community. Like, it's not just a big anonymous New York City. Like, this is a community, and I actually live in this community.
Yeah.
And that was the first time.
To answer, I was going to say my instinct, without even knowing what the thing was, is that when you feel like you're contributing to the city or contributing to the story of the city, is when I started to feel like, oh, I'm a part of this now. Like I am New York, So telling stories or getting involved in some way, like helping out a fire department, or something, is when you start to feel like you're a part of it,
So for me, growing up in Staten Island, I was pretty much sequestered from what is New York City. So I think the first time I ever felt like a New Yorker was when I took the ferry over for the first time. I think at that point they were still taking cars, so we drove into the city, from like the ferry, like we just drove out of the ferry, and then I moved away, and then I went to college, and then I dropped out of college. Moved back to New York. And then I remember one of the first days, I was in Brooklyn at this point. One of the first days that I was back in New York, I got on the train and I was like, I don't know where I'm going. So I'm just going to get on the train and get off near the ferry because at least I know where that is. So I took the N train to South Ferry, which I think is not the name of the stop. It's like Whitehall Street. Got out, and then I just walked north, and just taking in as much as I could. Walked by the Empire State Building, the World Trade Center, which had the first time, it was right after the first bombing, so there was still a little bit of like construction there. Kept on walking, just walked through like all these neighborhoods I had only read of, never really or saw on TV, and then I get to like Chelsea, and then I get to like Hell's Kitchen, and then I get to Times Square. You know what I mean? It's just like when I felt like I was part of the city, I felt like the city was part of me, like I was just taking it all in. So
it's funny you say that because well, I was going to say real quick that a couple of years ago at New York Comic Con, I was talking to Eric Larson, and I wish I could remember exactly where he walked, but he was telling me how he had walked from his hotel near the convention center, near the Javits Center, so that area, all the way up to, and I want to say 240th Street, but I don't think it's 240th Street.
Yeah, I don't think so.
But something where it was like 100 blocks or so. And he had just entered a whole other realm of New York. And he was looking at buildings that were kind of for sale. These buildings that were like kind of affordable for sale in an area that, again, I don't remember the name of. And I was just like, wait, so he walked through the city, the cool parts everybody knows, and got to the, and then just kept walking and just entered a whole other, when people think of New York City, they think about a few areas, okay? But like, whenever I'd get in a cab from the airport, from like LaGuardia or JFK or whatever, maybe more like JFK, and you first start to drive on like the highways, and then you're going on like streets, but in areas, you're like, how is this New York? I don't recognize this at all as being New York, But the majority of New York, or at least New York City, is these places that I don't go to,
right.
But we all think about Times Square, Empire State Building, Brooklyn Bridge, that kind of stuff, So
like tourist New York, though. I mean, don't you think?
Yeah, tourist New York.
Yeah,
exactly.
Like if you ask somebody anywhere in the world, like I mean, I shouldn't say anywhere, but many places people will know. Oh, Empire State Building or Radio City Hall. Like there's a handful of things, But yeah.
I
But
remember
Staten Island is New York.
I know it is, but but
the
thing is, when I was growing up, like I lived in not St. George, but the next neighborhood over, which is West Brighton. And whenever they would do the fireworks for 4th of July, they would do them by the Statue of Liberty, which is closer to where I was than say not. You know what I mean? So even though I couldn't see the Statue of Liberty, I would see the fireworks there. And it always felt like it was so far away. You know what I mean? If I could see the Statue of Liberty, I could probably feel like I was more part of the blood work of the system. But like I was so far, I could only see the fireworks. And it wasn't that far. It wasn't like being, like in Clove Lake Park or something like that. But, it just felt like another world, and then the funny thing is, like, I grew up on Staten Island. I only knew 2 neighborhoods, and it was West Brighton, where I was going to school, living at, and then it was Port Richmond, Mariners Harbor, which is where all my family lived. Meanwhile, there was Rosebank, where my father's family lived, and then there was a Port Richmond where all of my cousins went to school, like high school and stuff. So I mean, like that's the funny thing about neighborhoods, is that once you start learning the names of neighborhoods, you realize how big the place actually is. When I lived in Brooklyn, I lived in Bay Ridge, and I remember I wasn't dating this girl, but we would see each other all the time, and she lived in Park Slope, and I'm like, I have no idea where Park Slope is, at that point, and funny, Bayless was talking about Park Slope earlier, and you go to Park Slope, and then there's like one side of the park, and then there's the other side of the park, and then there's like Windsor Terrace, and it's like, it's all the same thing, isn't it? And it's not, and it's like, oh man, it's so easy. That's the problem, I think, when people from outside of New York finally come to New York, is they don't get to see all those little things, because they would get so lost if they had to figure all that
stuff. I get lost, and I'm a native New Yorker. I remember when I first moved to Carroll Gardens in 1997, it was super Italian and
Mhm.
very racist in a lot of ways. And I remember they would remember when people would cough and say a word, like they would cough and say yuppie, and I was like, I'm not a fucking yuppie. What are you talking about, man? Like
Like that.
like
Yeah.
that, like yuppie. Like I was like, come on, man. Anyway, but no, Carrie wrote something that was hilarious. Did
Yeah,
you
I'll
see
put it back up.
her sad New York story?
My only New York story is waiting for a plane at LaGuardia. It was after Terrificon and I was hallucinating. I realized it when the intercom started talking about lettuce to me and swearing in Spanish.
That's a one pager. That's a great, because that's a New York story though.
That's what I was just about to say.
That's a New York story. That's how you know. That's a New York story. I would love to. So Jen, let's quickly talk about your collaboration with J.G. Thirlwell, because this is one of the few, I think there might be one or two other stories in here done by women. Roz Chass is in this book as well, another woman. But Carol Leigh, I think, is in the book. So
cool.
but what I was going to say, Jen, you did this originally for another thing that I was curating for Book Court, when Book Court was around on Court Street. Big bookstore, was great, and had a lot of great guests and signings and whatnot. And then I would do some kind of comics readings as well. And they self-published an anthology. I think there were only 3 issues, called Cousin Corinne's something. Not Retreat, but Cousin Corinne's something. It was a really cool title, actually. And Zach, who was one of the sons of the owners, asked me to curate a comic section, and I called the Comics Block, and I recruited you and JG to do a collaboration, which was this collaboration. Now, so technically it has been published before, but actually, it only a handful of people saw it, because you would have to have bought the anthology at the store. It wasn't like it was distributed. I don't believe. I think it was more of a special kind of project from the store. But I wanted to ask you, what was it like working with J.G. Thirlwell, telling this story? And then finally, my second question would be, if you could tell a New York story or draw and illustrate a New York story, what would it be?
Okay.
Your own story. Your own story.
You can hear me, right?
Yep.
Yes.
Well, first of all, it was called Cousin Corinne's Reminder.
Reminder.
Book Court sounds like where you go when you get in trouble with the book police. But the first question, what was it like to work with JG and do that story? Is that what you're wondering?
Sure.
So, well, he's such a brilliant musician and actually a brilliant visual artist too. I was really excited that he agreed, and he had a great story, which I don't want to give away, but it's a little dramatic, a little dark, and he wrote it. It was written pretty succinctly, almost the way, like, it's just very short. It wasn't like a long expository.
Almost like a song. Almost like a song.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, exactly. And it was a little dark, so I decided to draw all the characters as rabbits, also because I'm not really a comics artist and I don't know how to draw people. So everybody turned out to be like kind of a deviant looking rabbit. And he didn't have any, I mean, I think just luckily he thought it was okay. And he must have thought it was okay enough because he came to the reading at Book Court, during which I was wearing a rabbit costume. I don't know.
I remember that.
It was just, I was so nervous. It was the only thing I could do. So I was just like, God, I hope Jim doesn't think that I'm like, hope he thinks I'm doing justice to the story wearing this ridiculous outfit. But it's really I don't normally do illustrations, so to draw something that somebody's written is a little challenging. But I gave it the old college try. I mean, I'm mostly a landscape and cityscape painter, so trying to do action and have it be interesting and not just talking rabbit heads is a challenge. And I don't know. I'm just lucky it came out, and what can I say? It was fun to work with him, but it was more, he gave me the script and then I just kind of did it, and luckily he was okay with it. And luckily you
Nice.
were okay with it.
I remember first seeing it. I was like, wait, what? Wait, I don't remember
Sometimes
there
when
being
people see
rabbits.
sometimes people are a little like initially like, what is that? But
And you
I
put a
think it
lot of work
works.
into it. You
I
put a lot of work.
did. I did because I couldn't now I do it totally differently, but at the time I just couldn't figure out how to do it in like watercolor. Like it turned into paintings. So it turned out to be way more work. I mean, I think they were like acrylic paintings on giant pieces of paper instead of doing it the normal way. And then in terms of a New York story, I mean, there's so many, but I think it'd be fun to do a group of stories about things that we have left on the subway. I feel like losing something in the subway is a lesson you learn quickly and then you never forget it. So anytime I ever leave the subway car, I always look back at the bench. So, I think I must have left, a bag or something when I was maybe 17, and then I never forgot the fact that I left something in the subway. So, like I said, I
I,
always look.
I'm the same with a jacket. Whenever I have a jacket and there's pockets and there's something in the pocket like a glove or a hat or a cell phone, let's say. That's why as a man, I have the lumpiest pockets because there's everything if they're not touching my thighs, then they
You
don't
don't know it's
exist.
there.
They're not in a bag, they're not in a jacket pocket, like I have wallet, phone, keys, pens, like glasses, glass case with glasses in them. And I look ridiculous. My what do you call it? The contour? My contour is horrific. Okay.
Like
Jeez,
Herbie the flying, what's his name?
Oh God, the cartoon character Herbie.
Yeah, I
the,
can't
the
think
one
of his
that that's based on Josh Frankel. Kidding.
Anyway,
Okay. Jen, thanks for that. That would be a fun story to draw.
I want to finish what I like. My thoughts on this whole project are I know you probably have all seen that movie After Hours.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
So to me, I mean, I would love if this anthology could be kind of an after hours for comics, where it kind of showcases in all these different wonderful ways, like how weird and wonderful being in New York City is. Anything can happen. The weirdest stuff happens, and sometimes you feel like you're the only one who saw it happen.
yeah.
And I think that for somebody who's, well, either if you're from New York City or you're not, I think that is going to be something really cool about it. And that's what I loved about that movie. It just really summed up the weirdness. And anyway, it's a beautiful book. I'm proud to be involved, and thank you.
Thank you, Jen.
Yeah, I wanted to show you real quick before we talk to Tony. I wanted to show you here. This is Vito's story, and it's called to what you're saying. New York is not a real place.
Oh, there we go. There we go. All right, I'm
There
gonna
you
hop off and get back to the paintings, but thank you, congratulations.
Thank you, Jen.
Jen, are we gonna watch a Hitchcock?
I appreciate it. Always want to watch a Hitchcock
Okay, we'll watch a
presents.
Hitchcock.
Okay, I don't know how to get off here, but have a great
I'll,
night.
I'll take care of you.
Okay,
Bye.
bye-bye.
Thanks, Jen.
Now, which
Tony.
of the Jens was that?
Huh?
That was Jen
Wait.
Ferguson.
Jen Ferguson.
that's what I wasn't sure. I thought so.
Your sound changed all of a sudden.
You sound like you're underwater.
I am here. Do I still sound underwater?
Like if I covered my ears,
I don't understand.
That's
weird.
better.
Perfect.
Okay.
You gotta be closer.
I got to be closer. Got it.
We need a bigger nose.
Dick.
Well, I look at that schnoz. I just did a StreamYard with another podcast, and he
What
said
just
my
happened to
audio was
his
okay.
voice? Sorry, I know you did. Like you still you're talking into the laptop, right? Or not a phone?
Yeah, I wonder if it's trying.
Okay, you just uncovered something.
Yep.
What is it? Was it an Egg McMuffin or something? Was it sitting on the mic?
Now we can't hear.
Now we can't hear you at all. What the hell are you doing, man?
I didn't do it.
I think he's gonna come back or do something. So everybody, we have Tony Wolf, and actually he just muted his thing. Unmute. comic creator guy.
It says can't unmute your guest or mic isn't connected. Okay, he'll come back.
I
can
guess
read
he'll
lips.
come back. I guess that. Okay. Vito.
Yes.
We have talked about your contribution in the past, right?
Yeah, we talked with Steve when he came on.
That's right. That's right. That's right.
But you know, it's
think
funny.
about. Go ahead. Go ahead.
No, well, go ahead. What were you going to say?
Well, I was going to say what Jen said about the after hours thing. It didn't even occur to me, and I don't know if there's enough story in these short stories to create like a kind of a TV anthology of, you know, retelling these stories cinematically. I just don't. I'm not convinced that there's enough per story to justify. If that makes sense.
Like, you know, it's funny. I was contemplating a question. You know, like you asked her, what would you write if you wrote your own? You know, like
yeah.
And I was thinking, oh, I know what my next story would be. It's like, it's got to be a Staten Island story, kind of like what I was talking about being distant, and then you know, talking about that. And I was thinking, did anybody do a WoHop story? Did anybody do like a Limelight story? You know,
so I technically have done a WoHop story in Beef with Tomato that was, you know, originally Street Code.
Yeah, I remember that.
Yeah, so I do have WoHop in my lexicon. In fact, I'd like to reprint that I'd like to combine my Opposable Thumbs with Beef with Tomato, and then like this story in this book and some other autobio I've done, and then with a newer, longer maybe story to have the bigger book, as it were. The problem with my autobio comics is that there isn't an overarching theme or story, you know, and so it's a lot of vignettes, as it were, you know.
But
and I think people like to have a beginning, middle, end. But no,
not if it's autobio. Like autobio jumps off.
No, but I think autobio today, or at least for a while, was trauma porn. You know, victim-based kind of. You know, I had cancer and I fought cancer, or I was traumatized in a certain way, and that seemed to be the bigger sellers. And after a while, I think people were like, okay, enough already. Like, you know, I want something else, kind of a thing. You know, so maybe I would fit in at some point, you know, with the stuff I've done before, but then I have to really think about what is a longer story, and I don't know what that is. I mean, there are stuff that we don't want to talk about in our lives, you know, like, I mean, Tony, you illustrated Doug Latino, who was the co-editor of Real Life Comics, and but you also have your own book that Cosmic Lion published, largely based on Green Point of View, right?
Yeah,
and then you turned in Tales from the Wolf.
Is my audio better now?
Yes, much better.
Okay.
Much better.
What it was, you were right. It was partly coming through the phone. So what I did was I just turned off the phone entirely and forced.
Wait, hold on a second. Could you repeat that? Because I have a tough time going to sleep at night. And if I could just record that boring bit of information.
Well, I thought I would tell you how I solved the mystery.
Woo!
I solved it, guys.
And that's how you write a mystery, guys.
That's right. All right.
From real life. No,
I can make that cleaner. Yes, I did do a book with Cosmic Lion, Dean.
No, but you have your own kind of experience with doing autobio, right? Then you drew Doug's, which we'll get into briefly here. Sure. And then my question to you is, if you had had an opportunity for at least this volume, and we'll see if there's another volume, I'm curious to know if you have another one in you that you'd want to write and draw yourself.
I may very well. It's funny. I have a bunch of like funny, weird New York stories. Excuse me. Thank you, Carrie. I have a little cough, but I'm really okay. But I have a lot of weird little like short anecdotes that happened that were funny or interesting, but I have to say, as the years go on, I become almost a little more harsh editor on myself about which stories would be worth doing as a comic, as a short story. So I would, as Jen was talking, I was kind of percolating my thoughts and wondering, like, what would I do? Like, if I were to do my own, I'm not sure. I did end up, there's a story in the hardcover now in Real Life Comics, only in New York. Was it Gideon's, where he ends up going to a party randomly?
Yeah.
I ended up going to a party randomly also. It just didn't end up being that thrilling a party, but I just thought I'm such a square that I was like, I talked to these people on the street and got invited to a party. That alone is a miraculous.
Oh, I've experienced that. I love that. In fact, it reminds me of the time when me and my buddy Larry were invited to a party of much younger people.
Sure.
And we would bring like bottles of Old English 800 and drink that and try to get other people to drink Old E because people thought it was disgusting, and malt liquor is kind of disgusting. But you know, that was us being like tough guys or whatever. But I remember we're going to this party and we're like, we ran into, I don't know what the term is now, but a homeless person, a derelict, kind of drunk guy. And he lived in the street, and we invited him to the party with us.
Yes.
And we brought him up to this party, and we walk in the door with our Old E, and all these kids are looking at us basically. And I don't mean underage, they were of age, but we were definitely at least 5 years older.
Yeah.
And like, we were like, oh, this is our buddy. I don't even remember his name. And he was spooked. Like, he couldn't believe he was at inside someone's house. He was invited to a party. And I remember him going and sitting on the couch. I mean, in hindsight, I regret this, right? Like, but at the time, I thought this was funny. He sits on the couch, and there must have been some snacks, and he was just slowly eating the snacks. And we gave him some Old English. And we were like, within 10 minutes, we were bored of this party. So we decided to split, me and Larry, and we left him there.
That's amazing. Oh, but you know, it's so sweet when you think about it. Like he doesn't get to sit on a couch like that.
He doesn't get to sit on a couch right now. Or I hope it didn't occur to us that he could have maybe pulled out a machete and slaughtered everyone. I don't know. Or
he left, so
or he taught them macrame. I don't know. Like, I don't remember what happened after that, except when I think about it, that was pretty bodacious. You know,
I once went to a party in the East Village that was in a condemned apartment where the people that were throwing the party were squatting.
Wow.
Oh,
it's the craziest thing I'd ever like.
Lower East Side?
Yeah.
Oh, I know those buildings. I've been to those as well. Yeah.
Like I just remember, you know, it wasn't drug use wasn't that surprising to me, but just like, wait, we're all gonna get arrested, like, you know, like that kind of thing. Like, we're not all supposed to be here.
Right. No,
Vito, by the way, it's nice to see you. I've probably only met you super briefly years ago.
Yeah,
I feel like
really, really quick at like signing or something like that. Yeah.
So I just wanted to be noted that this is our video reunion.
Yeah.
You know, I got a call. The first call I got this morning was a video call from Tony, and yeah, it sounds like an origin of a slasher film.
Was that an accidental video call? I hope.
You video called me.
Call. Yeah.
No, you called me, and it was a video. I was like, oh, I guess he wants to see my face. And you were sitting in a room, not this room, that was all white walls and like a white cat, and you had a white t-shirt on. And now I'm like, is your entire place white?
The walls of this room are white, yes.
And were you in another part of this room, or were you in another room?
Yes, I was just on a different section of the couch facing a different wall.
Okay. Because I don't remember the windows at all for some reason.
I live in THX 1199 or whatever.
There you
go. That's a better joke than the one I made.
Oh,
wait,
sorry,
what'd you say?
What was your
I
joke?
said Tony lives in a sanitarium.
Well, the straight jacket, they take it off after a couple hours for me.
That's right. That's right. So Tony, like real quick, tell people who are listening to this, and it's going late. We're like almost 2 hours and 20. Oh, wait a second.
Oh, sure.
Carrie said, I fucking got asked why I was at a party that was in my own home, not squatting, but it was a commercial property 2 blocks from the downtown bars. Like, I'm paying the rent. Like, that's hilarious. That reminds me, when I first moved to Brooklyn, and at one point I was living by myself, so I had a big empty living room, and I decided to throw a big ass party. Heidi McDonald came, like 100 people came. You could hear music down. I'm like 6 blocks away from the subway. People coming on the subway heard my music. That's how loud it was.
Wow.
And I remember, and I'm going to bring up something that was a callback, deciding to leave my own party at 1 a.m. It was going so, and I went to WoHop with a couple of people. And came back to my own party 2 hours later. That's how crazy. And I remember having to get a bucket and mop because there was vomit all the way down the 3 flights of stairs.
That's a flex, Dean. You don't even realize.
Wow.
It is a flex. It's a flex. I can never do that again. Yeah, man. I left my own party. Wait, what's going on? Is that a
My
doggy?
my wife Jen just came home, and our dog Daisy is like thrilled with delight. So she's wagging her tail. She almost knocked over some water.
We had Bugsy, Bob Fingerman's dog, was on earlier with
wow.
Bob.
Really?
Yeah.
What kind of dog does he have?
Oh, it's one of those bug-eyed little freaks that are
It's not a
super
Chihuahua,
cute.
but it could be like a.
It sounds like a pug. Is it a pug?
No.
I
It's
know.
snout. More
Like snaggletooth, their tongue hangs and their eyes are going
it's just
looking
like-
different.
Oh wait, is that like that dog that Deadpool has in that movie? Kind of looking.
Kind of.
Sort of, not with the tongue though.
Yeah, kind of. Hey, Daisy.
What a good.
Wow, look at
girl.
you, Daisy. You're
I
so
love
elegant.
I
Are you
know she
yawning?
came home.
Oh, come now. Now that's a
Well,
flex.
it's a 2 hour and 20-minute show at this point.
Jenny came home.
That's true.
Wait, now Vito, do you have dogs? Because I know you did Stray.
I did. My dogs have since passed.
I'm sorry.
currently have my dog Kirby's collar
Oh.
that I will never get rid of.
What kind of dog was Kirby?
Kirby was a pit bull.
Oh yeah,
And
pit bulls are great. They're really
Yeah.
good dogs.
He was my ride or die. Literally,
Wow.
like he rode with me everywhere.
Mm-hmm.
And then we had a Cocker Spaniel that passed away before him, Casey. She was blind, and like she came with Michelle when Michelle and I got together. So she was with Michelle from a puppy. So like I only had her for like 5 or 6 years myself, but like she was great. Like blind, but she could get around everywhere.
Oh.
We brought it down.
Antimatter is here.
Tony, have you ever cried on the subway?
You know, I probably have. Not off the top of my head, but I'm sure I have.
What makes
How
you?
does that make you a New Yorker? That's the part I don't get.
I don't know, man. Like
I probably cried waiting for a subway on the platform.
I would imagine the
That's true.
shitting yourself, crying on the subway, maybe killing a roach makes you a New Yorker.
Thankfully, I haven't shat myself. I have peed on some subway platforms when it was desolate and no other humans were around.
That's
fair. If I desperately had to.
I mean, I think that you have to do that at some point.
For anyone that's not visited New York and is planning to, and if you have to pee and you're on the subway, you go to the back of where the subway is.
That's what I did.
Yeah. The last car would pull in, and you pee onto the tracks going into the face of traffic.
Oh, I don't even think I went onto the tracks. I just think I tried to discreetly do it against the wall or something.
No, you stay on the platform. That's where you pee. You pee onto the tracks.
Right.
Well, when you say on the tracks, you don't mean the third rail, though.
No. That'll come back up and kill you.
That's right. That's right.
By the way, if we're going to continue for a while, I may need to shut my camera off for a little bit and just move rooms so that my wife can unwind and
we want to see her. We want to see her unwind.
Yeah, we want you to leave. Let her unwind.
Come on, man. It's after 10 o'clock. We get to see someone unwinding.
We were just talking about after hours.
Know where your children are. It's 10 p.m.
She's not as much of a ham as I am.
But we are running late, so I want to wrap it up quick. Not quick, but in a couple of minutes, if you don't mind staying on.
Yeah.
And then what we'll do is I do want people to know a little bit more about you, and then I want you to discuss your collaboration with Doug, and then what's happening with this weekend.
If I can I turn the camera off and just run into another room real quick?
Yes, yeah.
This is live television, people. It's live. Woo!
You have to.
Okay. Okay. All right, Daisy. Hold on.
Oh, wow, he really did shut off so he's still there, but the camera's off.
I'm here. I'm absolutely here.
We
Can you hear me?
We could be seeing a naked woman right now, but no. Thanks to Tony, there's no nudity. We're not allowed to have nudity on the show.
You know, on the other side, there could be a dead body there. We don't know.
There could be a dead body.
Yeah.
There
Let me
could
tell you
be.
something. Did you hear his response when I said that? He went,
Real guilty, I know, right?
No, I was
It's like he felt
contemplating.
busted.
I was contemplating.
He felt seen.
I was wondering if I should tell Jen that Daisy needs to go out to pee. Okay, let's see.
She's gonna make you do it, so just turn the camera on.
Yeah, but why don't you talk to us while you're walking? There you go.
Well,
All
here
right.
I am. We're in.
I'm gonna eat an old egg roll.
This is a drawing of Daisy. Actually, you know who drew this drawing of Daisy? My dog, George Foles. Remember George Foles?
Yeah. Oh yeah. He writes me all the time.
What is he
Little
up to
George.
now?
He's off social media. He doesn't do so. We had a little conversation about what that means.
Okay.
Because I said to him, sorry, I'm eating now.
No,
I said to him,
yeah.
how do you find out about things?
Yeah.
If you're not, because he'll read my newsletter,
Yeah.
and I guess he watches the podcast. Hi, George.
Okay.
But otherwise, he's not like following anybody on Instagram or anything like that, you know.
Okay.
And then it raised the bigger question, like, well, how do you know? And I was wondering how I know. How do you know when a movie's coming out? How do you know when a comic book's coming out? Like, you know, I find out through social media. I find out. I mean, most of my news comes from a friend putting up a New York Times article or responding to, oh no, and like, why'd you say oh no? It's because Trump said that, you know, whatever, you know. So when you remove yourself from those platforms, I said to him, I was jealous. I want to live his life.
Yeah, really.
You know? So, and I think he's doing illustrations for medical books and
nice
stuff like that, you know. So
good guy, and a very good artist.
Mm-hmm. So talk about real quick. Do you remember how we met?
So I think we met. Was it through that guy or
Brendan and Ian?
Yes, exactly.
And it I want to say, was it Jim Hanley's Universe signing, I believe.
Oh wow.
And he introduced me to you as being an artist, and Vito was probably working there.
Wow. Oh my gosh, yeah.
That's what I think was the first time we met. Was through Brendan. You were with Brendan. I don't know what there were probably 4 or 5 of us signing something. Vito was probably working it. And that's many years ago.
Now, I however, though, just for color commentary, Vito, I grew up reading Dean stuff probably from like age 17 when I was 17, meaning. So I remember your early Harvey Picar collaborations. I bought quite a number of some other things you did. And I think I bought Opposable Thumbs well before I ever met you in person. And I was really, Opposable Thumbs still resonates in my head a lot as a really excellent book.
Thank you.
And the cover design and even the colors in the cover and the stories in there. So I had kind of been reading, you know, Vito, I would imagine you've had this experience also. You read someone's work for years, and then eventually you meet them and become friends with them, and you're like, "Whoa, this can really happen. This happens in life." You know,
almost didn't happen with one person.
Right.
And I'll tell that story someday on the show, but I'm not going to tell it tonight.
Sure.
Okay.
Right. So anyway, but you know, I remembered that we met through Brendan, but I didn't remember the exact moment. But that makes sense.
I feel like Brendan was there because I feel like you guys were working on a project together at the time or something.
Yeah, I illustrated a 4-page thing for him that he wrote. Also, by the way,
and I think he showed it to me to give some advice. Right. And then I said, "Oh, you know what? You should be an actor."
Right.
No, I'm kidding.
Yeah. No, what I was going to say, the heartwarming version is that you encouraged me to keep drawing. You were like, whoever this is, he's not bad. Like he should keep doing this.
Yeah, absolutely.
And I think you even said you should be making more comics. So it took me another couple years to answer that call, but here I am.
And then you did, and you still, I feel like you're a practical person. You're probably more practical than I am, and you probably have more quality of life concerns than I do. You know, so I feel like you've taken other kind of. Well, you're an actor. That's a whole other ball of wax. That's a risk right there, right? Trying to be the auditions one has to do and all that stuff. But you've also had a regular job for many years, you know. So, and I just haven't had a job. I don't think ever like a regular job. I had a lot of part-time gigs, and then my full-time gig is just trying to stay in comics, you know, right now.
Sure.
But no, I always enjoyed your work, and I was really impressed when you finally kind of arrived. I feel you would redraw a cover, or you do a little small thing here or there for other people's stories. But when you did green point of view, I was like, all right, here we go. This to me I respond. I know for some people, and with my work, because I do superheroes and memoir.
Right.
Like Whitney will say she likes my autobio 10 times better than anything else I do. And I haven't done that a lot in a while, you know.
Right.
So, and some people like my superhero stuff better than my memoir, or whatever. So, you know, I have the versatility. But there was something about your green point of view that you then collected into Tales from the Wolf, right?
Right. Exactly.
And then you've worked with Doug Latino and on his comics, you know, and then when he was going to do his contribution for Real Life Comics, you were a natural selection, of course, you know.
Yeah, I was so thankful and excited. So this is the third story I've drawn for Doug Latino. Back when he and Gideon were doing individual issues of their series, Wait, It Gets Worse. I really enjoyed that. I tend to be a sucker for autobio. I like doing it. I like reading it. I always like reading it, especially from the Harvey Picard days and everything else in between. So once I was reading Wait, It Gets Worse, I think I was always kind of like hanging around the lobby, metaphorically going, I hope they ask me to draw one someday for that comic over there. And so Doug asked me to do one. Then we did a second one. And the second one was about Doug's last name and the fact that he's not Latino, and the family history. And I tend to really like, and some of that was built into the Green Point of View stories, I like things that kind of become a miniature documentary. And so the piece I did for Doug in Real Life Comics, only in New York, really the meat of it is a miniature documentary about who this writer is. Who is Gay Talese? Why did society, why would anyone care about Gay Talese? What's the history there? And as I drew it, I really felt kind of a weird fulfillment. I felt glad that like we're going to be teaching the younger generation about who this writer was. And it's kind of really interesting, you know. I have a couple of more Green Point of View stories in mind. However, one of them, what's kept me from doing more of them is I feel like they're almost mostly documentary and not very much story, but I still
that's my concern. My concern is like, how much is it? Is just data?
Yes.
Here's a fact.
Correct.
Here's a Wikipedia entry versus, I mean, well, I was going to make a criticism about not your work, but someone else who did something that ultimately I felt like they did this a big, elaborate work.
Right.
And when I was reading it, I won't get into it right now, but I was reading, I was like, this felt like Wikipedia entries.
Right.
You know, just the date, just the information, you know, the essentials, right? Versus the nuance of what a story can do, you know? So, yeah, we've struggled, me and Doug Latino for this book struggled with what is not only a New York story, but what's a good little autobio story.
Yeah. What makes for a good, real nonfiction short story?
Yeah, and it doesn't always have to have action in it, because I've drawn many Picard stories that are no action whatsoever. You know, like, and that's why I was starting to crave action as a kid growing up with superhero comics. You know, so, but yeah, I think it's like you had that gusto, you had that burst of Green Point of View comics that you wanted to do, and then, you know, as we all get older, we do wonder, how do we want to spend our time sitting and drawing, and what do we want to do, right? So I totally get it. Like, you could be like, oh, I could tell this story, but is it enough of a story? Does it make me want to sit down and draw it? And would you want to read it, you know, as well, you know? So
I tend to think with my own stuff, I think a lot. I pretend that I'm the editor, and I don't give a shit about who this Tony Wolf guy is. And if I'm an editor who's not Tony Wolf, do I think this is worth spending 4 months drawing? Like, do I think it's good enough? You know?
Right.
And so sometimes that can also be a little prohibitive. Maybe I've inhibited some brainstorms because I was like, nah, it's not good enough. It's not, the public won't care, you know? But I am working on a short autobio piece now, which is languished due to my other projects. That's about weird. It's a unique story about playing with Star Wars toys as a kid, and I can safely say it's about something that I've never seen a story about with Star Wars toys. And so I'm excited to do it, even though I know some of it is just data and nostalgia, but I think it's about something so weird and funny that I'm still determined to finish it, whether the public cares or not. Like, I'm going to get this done and put it out. And I think at the very least, it's going to be amusing to people.
Well, you have to like it first, I think.
Yes,
as
exactly.
the creator,
Yeah.
especially when it's autobio, you know.
Oh my God, yes.
Yeah, I think we've covered a little bit of your background. I know you've done stuff with Georgine Gustines or Gustines. How do you say his last name?
Yeah.
Gustines.
Gustines. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, you could say Gustine. I like to say Gustines if I'm really trying to.
Yeah. And you know, you've been around the block, and I guess before you tell us what you're doing this weekend, if you had an opportunity to write a story for this volume, do you have one in mind? Anything off the cuff?
I have to say, at the moment, I'm not certain. I have nothing that I think passes my own editor test at the moment. I think I would need to reflect more on it. I do, by the way, Dean, I don't know if I've ever told you this. This is a big reveal. Everyone in listener land, in viewer land. You did your 9/11 story about what your processing of that day was like.
Right.
And ever since then, I have a 9/11 story of my own, which again is more about personal reflection than action. However, I've already drawn the first page of it. I drew the first page of it 4 years ago or 5 years ago, and it sat because I kept having other projects I was more galvanized about. But I kind of still think I need to do that story. And it's always percolating. I remember reading Ed Brubaker saying, you know, and you, Vito, both of you guys, you can have an idea for a story that might sit in your noggin for 8-9 years until you get to it.
Yeah.
And my 9/11 story, some of it is a little weird, but I still feel like driven to at some point finish it.
Well, it could go into another bigger collection, and you know, as part of your bigger, grander story. You know, like or maybe in an anniversary that comes up, you can then release it. You know,
I really feel it's got to happen. There's another Greenpoint story that I want to do at least. You know, but it's fun. I never used to think of myself as a writer because I didn't really typically write fiction, which I kind of still mostly don't. I thought, oh, I'm not a writer. I can't write. And now that I embraced autobio and memoir, I do have stories. But the older I get, just like you said, Dean, I'm a little bit more picky about what I will spend 4 months at the drawing table drawing. I feel like it needs to be something I'm really excited about.
Right.
Dean, let's answer this question and then go out on a high note there.
My question is, that whole time that Tony was talking. Oh, okay.
What?
What's that, bud?
Something just got funky. Did you hear like a repeat?
It sounded like you had a very slight delay, Dean, in your audio.
Are we back to normal? Because
I think so.
Okay. Big Biz. Hi from Cleveland. Are there any thoughts about doing only New York Volume 2 or highlighting another city or cities? Yeah, we've talked about this. Good question. If this does really well, then sure. I mean, and people want a Volume 2. I already have a list I'm forming of people who have asked to be in a Volume 2. Okay. I mean, we were talking about, me and Eli and Doug were talking about the fact that it could probably just be a monthly series that you collect at the end of the year. You know, it could be, but yes, there are other. We did mention Cleveland. We mentioned. I would love to see only in Florida. Oh my god.
Oh my god.
LA last week.
Good idea.
Yeah, you could do Chicago, LA. I mean, and then we could recruit editors from those spaces that would know the local talent to keep it like local, but then also open it up to people who have traveled through and have a little story, you know, or whatever, or an experience that would be worthy telling. So yeah, I mean, if it does well enough, I just can't believe it's 2026 and this hasn't been going on since the invention of comics.
I know.
Yes, I said Chicago, Marcus. Of course, Chicago. I've been to Chicago. I actually do have
a Chicago story.
So
I have an LA story.
But all right, and so Tony, you're going to be at BIX both days this weekend, the Brooklyn Independent Comic Showcase in Industry City. as spearheaded by St. Mark's Comics. And you're going to be there. You're going to be running the Cosmic Lion table.
Yes, me and Ben Granoff will be manning. I've always joked that we are the Cosmic Lion East Coast sales reps because it makes us sound like real businessmen.
And Cosmic Lion is the publisher of Real Life Comics, as well as our former guest, Bob Fingerman. Tony Wolf, I think, has stories in the Doug Latino collection with Gideon Kendall.
Yep, and they published, Cosmic Lion published my short story collection, Tales from the Wolf.
And Tales from the Wolf. So all those books will probably be there.
Yes.
Real Life Comics won't be there yet because we're crowdfunding it right now. And then you're going to be debuting something that I guess you can't talk about it still, even though
I can give a vague teaser. So
I will say this, even though this was live, it will then is this going to be up now, or is this going to be up on Monday?
As we speak, like this will be up.
So this isn't like a Monday release after the live. It's up and running now. Got it.
My marketing brain is ready with a vague sentence.
I do want to show everyone.
He doesn't want to.
Bottom. Brooklyn Independent Comics Showcase. That is the website to go get tickets.
Ooh, nice one.
Excellent.
Nice one.
Thank you.
So that way, like if you're watching this as we speak.
Wait, get tickets. I think it's free. It's
free admission.
Get
free admission.
I admit freely.
By the way, I think this is the 5th annual. They call it BIX, Brooklyn Independent Comics. I think it's the 5th BIX. It could be the 6th, but I think it's the 5th.
No, it's the 5th BIX. It's the 5th BIX. So, and you're debuting something, but you're going to tease it.
Yes. So this is my first time as an editor and curator. I'm debuting, let's call it a vague political comics and political art anthology. I also am thinking of it kind of like an art gallery book. It's sort of like an art gallery collection. And it's comics for this moment that we are facing in society. And but we have a number of distinguished creators involved, including Dean, and it's poised to get some major media attention. And an official announcement is coming out of a very large news outlet tomorrow by around 12 noon.
Can you say all of that again, but instead of saying it the way you said it, say it with your mouth like this, and you keep using your hands, and you make your voice a little scratchier. Like you're an actor, you know what I'm doing.
It's not a very special. It's like a political book, but it's also like comics. It's a gallery. It's like you're walking through a museum. I just want you to picture a museum. You're walking through it. There's a lot of pretty artists. The art is pretty. It's also thought-provoking because it's about society.
See, I was trying to get you to do like a Trump, but I think you came off more like Larry David.
Oh, I thought you were going like Godfather, whatever.
I thought you were doing Bernie Sanders.
I said Larry David.
It could have been Bernie.
Or Larry David, right.
Look who's here. Daisy.
Oh,
Daisy.
Want to come up? Okay.
And then just because we did mention this, and I think our last talk with Doug, that you had that big Super Bowl commercial. Can you just quickly recount that?
Yes. So I see Daisy. Daisy's wagging her tail. So 2 years ago, I was cast in the lead role. It was a Super Bowl short film, actually. It was a short biopic created to honor the life of Raiders coach and owner Al Davis. And it turns out I look enough like the young Al Davis.
Totally do.
And I have 25 plus years of acting experience. It was written by a writer with 7 Emmy Awards. It was directed by a director with 12 Emmy Awards for CBS and the NFL and Paramount. They flew me out to Los Angeles for the shoot. The script was beautifully written. Some of it was like a buddy cop thing with John Madden, an actor playing the young John Madden, and myself. And it was nominated for 2 Emmy Awards. It was nominated for Best Short Film and for Best Cinematography. It won for Best Cinematography. If it won for Best Short Film, I might not be starting a new office job next week, which I am. But the fact that I was really thankful and very pleased with how it came out. I felt it was the first time I got to show that I could handle more than 4 lines in a TV show or big movie. And it's led me to auditioning at a way higher level, at the Hollywood level. I've thankfully gotten to audition for a number of potentially life-changing jobs since then. I still am getting those auditions, thankfully. I have yet to be picked for those auditions, but that Super Bowl thing was really a game changer, and it came at age 52. So never give up on your dreams, kids, because I've been a quote struggling actor with question mark for about 26 years or 25 years. So but guess who now is about to play Al Davis in a major motion picture? Christian Bale. So
Really?
Yeah.
Theoretically, Christian Bale, I can surmise, must have watched me.
Absolutely.
I'm the first person to play Al Davis on camera ever, because no one's ever done a biopic about him other than that Super Bowl short film. The NFL did a documentary about Al Davis 4 years ago, which I researched, but they CGI'd the face. Like it was like a blue man, you know, when you put dots on the face. So they picked an actor who did the voice who didn't look like Al Davis. So they CGI imposed an Al Davis face onto it, which was quite disconcerting.
Yep.
Anyway, so
they've gotten better at it, though.
I may one day get to be a full-time actor, and until then, I have a job, and I'm always going to make comics, even if and when I make it in quotes.
Right. No, awesome. That's
so
awesome.
your words of encouragement actually hit somebody right there. Thank you.
Hey, man. Also, what's crazy is the Al Davis script that I was given. It was all about, and I didn't know about Al Davis, by the way. I had to educate myself. I said to myself, I'm Daniel Day-Lewis. I have to treat this like I'm Daniel Day-Lewis, and this is a major motion picture. The script was all about how Al Davis was not taken seriously as a kid because he was not a professional football player. And he was a scrawny, skinny, gaunt guy who no one would ever imagine would be a master football strategist. And I took that script. It's the whole point of the character in that thing that I played was people didn't take him seriously. And by God, he was going to show the world that he was a force to be reckoned with. And if you don't think I felt that about as an actor my entire life, wanting to wait for my big moment, I can show the world what I'm capable of. That gave me the chance to do that on a global stage. And I was weeping with tears as I flew out there. And I was weeping with tears of joy as I came back. I still get choked up thinking about it now. It really feels almost like Steven Spielberg picked me, you know, like Vin Diesel gets picked by Steven Spielberg, or, you know.
Right.
But the question is, did any of those weeping with tears happen on the subway?
No, they happened on a plane, which is another book.
So the other question I have, if you're going to be doing this, taking this seriously, like you said, is your job you're starting next week, are you a cobbler?
A cobbler.
Well, you know, Daniel Day-Lewis, when he's not acting, he's a cobbler.
Oh, right. Yeah, no, I'll be a secretary. I'll be a meeting arranger, which is fine.
Right.
All right,
Well, that's a beautiful story, and thanks for sharing.
Let's go out on that high note.
Exactly.
Thank you. But be on the lookout for a special mystery, vaguely political project this weekend.
And then on that note, also right there, QR code. I might be pointing.
Oh yeah,
on somebody else's QR code over whichever way. That takes you to our Kickstarter page for Real Life Comics, only in New York. Tony, where can folks find you online if they want to get in touch with you?
So my username is Tony Wolfness. So my name, Ness, like the essence of me is my Tony Wolfness. And that's on Blue Sky and Instagram. I also have a website, TonyWolfActor.com, which some people misread as the Tony Wolf Factor, which if that works for them, great. TonyWolfActor.com. I have an IMDb page. Yeah, I'm also on Twitter, which is kind of a sad exercise at this point. But thank you. I am there.
Absolutely.
And I'm also one of the many Cosmic Lion members, as is Dean.
Excellent. Well, thank you, Tony.
Thank you for
Vito.
having me.
Of course. Vito, do we have any final thoughts or
I have one final thought, Dean. It's very quick. I miss doing the yays afterwards.
Do it. I like yours better than mine. That's why. Could you do it?
Maybe next week. Right now, it's almost 3 hours in. Let's hold
So
that
you have
off.
to do a 3-hour strained yay.
Can you imagine? Wonderful show tonight. Carrie goes, don't cobblers make shoes? Wonderful show tonight, guys. Like, love, subscribe. Thank you very much. And Marcus with final thank you, guys. And thank you, everyone, for watching and joining us live. We will see you not next Monday, but the Monday after with episode 67. Thank you, Dean. Thank you, Tony. Thank you, everyone. Yay, yay. I did it.
There you go. Nice.